Copy link.
I got no notification, so that's good.
There you go.
What?
No.
Music, that's it.
Can you search for just live videos on YouTube?
I don't think so. It should show up just like any other
Can you
video.
type it says turf live
That's what I was
stream?
gonna say.
How about I like search specifically for it and see if it
I
comes
was
up.
searching exactly what he titled it as, and it's not coming up.
Okay. Mic check, please.
Mic check.
In your spot.
Oh, my bad. Mic check.
Pretty good.
I'm just hearing you say my check.
2019 lawn care bot. We're gonna teach you how to do the lawn care bot and dance your grass off.
Hey, hold on. I want to see what the delay is. Check. $11.
Okay, good. That actually means that when he's talking, he finishes. I can lean over.
Right.
So we got about a 10-second delay.
Yeah,
in between.
we'll call it a 10-second delay.
All right, so what are we doing? We have to
You need me to
redo
do
it.
Huh?
I was asking if you need me to move.
Send me the link. I text it to you. I'm gonna attach it to the email.
Are we leaving all that up?
Yeah, I'll just mute it.
Will people go back and watch this part?
They can.
Yeah.
They're all part of it. Thank you. Stay tuned.
Why
What's
don't
the
you
countdown?
explain to the people what's going on,
Yeah.
like for reals?
All right, guys. This is session 1, course 1 of the playbook. So we'll be going through company identity, branding, and marketing. Now I got to mute my phone so that doesn't happen the rest of the night. But we're going live about an hour, hour and a half early. Is that right? Hour and 15 minutes early. So hour and 15 minutes till we kick this thing off. So you guys stay tuned. Fast forward hour and 15 from here once you see this point. If you're watching this on the replay, and if not, I'll see you guys soon. Did it work? Did it work? No? Okay, man. Did it work? Y'all hear that echo? Alright. You ready to do the lawn care bod? Get up, let's go, baby! Woo! Alright. Who's on there? Who we got?
Lamont.
What's up, Lamont? You're early, dog. What are you doing? We got 41 minutes. 41 minutes. All right.
Jose's in.
Jose, Lamont, guys, we ain't gonna get this lawn care bod by sitting on the couch watching me on your phone. You gotta get up, baby. Get up, baby. Let's go. Start backing the trailer up. Backing the trailer up. Come on now. Back the trailer up. Back the trailer up. Stop. Now lower the jack. Come on. Let me see. You're not doing it. What's up? Come on now. Golly, guys. Come on. Please. Please. Getting going. All right, so you thought we're going to be going over the winner's guide, the first course of the playbook, but it was actually a ruse to get you in to do the lawn care bod challenge. So you got to get your camera, set it up, record yourself, and we're all going to do this together. Going to be about 30 of us tonight. We're going to get after it. No? Nobody's down? Okay. All right, I understand. All right, just a little while longer. We're checking everything out on our end, getting some visual aids ready for you guys, and it's going to be fun. So thank you. I do appreciate you, tuning in, helping me grow my channel and the playbook and all this. So it really means a lot. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. I won't work out. Maybe I might work out. I told Dixon I would. That's why I took his money. I said, pay me, Dixon, so I can teach you how to do the lawn care bod. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. Alright guys, want to do like a little test run real quick. Can everybody hear me pretty good? Are we good? Get some comments back.
Yep.
Alright, good deal.
Saying now I can. Yes, sound is good.
Alright, good deal. What about the picture? Is it good with pixely or is everything good? I know that'll be determined by your self-service, but
Looks good.
awesome.
Sharp.
Sharp,
I
sir.
like it.
We just need to get this thing going. This is so weird, guys. It really is. I don't like not being able to hear you or see the comments right in front of me. So we'll get through that part. Did everybody get your worksheet to go through? You just kind of read over that, guys, get familiarized with it. That'd be great. Go through that. It's like I'm waiting for a response, like somebody say something back to me. So,
I need big signs that say yes.
right, yeah.
Oh, Lamont says he needs a shirt, polo.
A polo? I guess I'm helping here tonight, guys. Justin's in here. He's going to be running everything. So if this messes up, it's on him. We'll come looking for him. And then we got the Fall River Dance Man in the back. He's going to be helping as well. So, hey, guys. So. The polos, they don't have the good stuff on the back. So. All right, everybody get up. Let's go. Come on. Now, nobody wants to do this with me. I've challenged 3 guys so far to do the lawn care bot. I'm trying to get it to like the cold bucket challenge, but nobody's doing it. I don't understand. So, if y'all could help me with that movement, I'd appreciate it. So, that video's getting a lot of love. I appreciate the support, guys. I really do. I'm excited. I'm just ready to dive into it, man.
Okay, you've got Dixon Landscaping, Daniel Smith, Aaron Alsip, and Hayden Riggins. All in.
Wonder if they can. Has anybody tried to pull it up? See if we. I redo pre-Q&A.
Sound like
Pre-Q&A to keep this thing going. Got to build the momentum going into this thing. My favorite color is purple. No, I'm just kidding. You might think that after one of my last videos, but that's not the case.
It's really pink.
So, we have countdown. 24 minutes. Really do appreciate you guys. This means a lot to me. So,
the Arkansas Richard Simmons.
what? Who said that?
That's exactly what we're going for. Thank you.
Who said that?
Is it where did
Where did that go? Yeah, nobody made that comment. You made it up.
No, I saw it. It was on there.
Lamont.
Lamont? Oh, thanks, Lamont.
Yeah, Lamont. There you go. Thank you for putting your name up You call them by their business name.
Mr. Harrison. Here we go. You want the Arkansas, Richard Simmons?
Oh wow. It's been requested you put on your sunglasses. I love it.
Do I? You?
They don't know Kevin about their sunglasses. I agree.
Give me my hat, my sunglasses. We'll see if we can. I'll go put my Fall River shirt on, and I'll see who's like. I thought Blake was teaching this course.
Dixon Landscaping said, "Look at your phone."
Uh-oh.
You need those biking shorts back on.
You got to tell me who says it.
That's just his everyday work clothes.
On Saturdays. That's my Saturday work gear. Work attire. Looks better standing, bro. You're real low.
Oh yeah, you are low in frame.
How's that? How's that look? Tyler, are we ready? All right, Q&A. Q&A, here we go. All right. Give me a question. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Come on. No questions, no interactions?
They're just down with your attire curiosity.
They really want those shorts.
All right. I'm going to go get the shorts. No, I'm not. So I may not make it back in time for the video.
So we're gonna cover.
There we go. Can we do, what's this? I feel like I could do like some Michael Jackson music video now.
I don't know anything.
How did you come up with your company name?
Do what?
How did you come up with your company name?
My company name. Started my company as Lunch for Tuition. That was in 2008. And after going to college and getting a degree in fire science EMT, my birthday is May 1st and the cutoff's April 30th. So in that transition, I went a full year, and I can't be taken serious with this thing on. And in that, I started a company called It's Your Turf. And from that transition, I had a lot of people tell me not to change my company name. And then I really felt convicted from God to change it to It's His Turf, giving the glory to Him. And I really felt like God was telling me that if I would glorify Him, that He would bless me. And so I changed my company name, even though my mentors and my dad and other people told me not to. And so I changed my company name to It's His Turf, and that was in February. And by April, we grew from 17 to over 60 clients. And then by then to August, we grew to over 90 clients. And then by the next season, 150. So I kind of knew it was God's plan, that what everything was going on, and then also how He was being glorified, and decided not to be a firefighter. So that's kind of the long story to how It's His Turf came about, but kind of shows you the backstory and everything else. What, lad? You about fell over back there. Who said something?
Are you and Kevin brothers?
Yes.
I'm the more handsome younger brother.
The bratty little brother.
No, we're not. We are not related at all. This guy didn't even know who I was until GIE of this year. Well, he did. He knew of me because I reached out to him. But we'll tell you that full story some other time. I had my assistant call him back. So this is just I want like a projector with the comments rolling in. Can we fit that? Can we fit that in our $0 budget?
Yeah.
So what else we got? Any other questions?
Nothing.
That's all right. Everybody wake up! 20 minutes. Where did our music go? Did I get better muted where you can't hear all the nonsense? Or you want us to play some music so it's not too awkward. We wanted to make sure all the kinks were worked out before we went live at 6 and everything was starting. Here's our intermission, guys. Go grab some snacks, you know, get you a pen and some paper. Come back. We've got, I can't read a real watch. 17 minutes. 17 minutes and we're going to get rolling. What?
How long have you been married?
I know that answer. I'm just kidding. I was trying to make somebody laugh. 6 years. So, actually, like a week ago, my anniversary was December 29th. 6 years. I like long walks on the beach. Can you turn that down? What?
I wanted him to look at me.
Oh, hey Justin, look at him.
You can't. Somebody says no audio on my end.
What? Can y'all hear me?
Chris.
Chris within his image. Chris with a K. Can
Yeah.
you hear us, Chris?
Yeah, that's who it is.
Are we good, brother?
I've got everybody else saying that they can hear.
Tell him to jump out and jump right back in.
To the right, center of the shirts. Right here, Tyler? He's directing me where to go. So.
Okay. Alright, everyone say they can hear you. Chris Keith's the only one that can't. I told him to reset. And jump out and jump back in.
Hayden's at a soccer tournament checking out the live stream. He said, anywhere I can. That's awesome. I was pumped that his dealer had that. They had one blower left in stock. So he was able to run down there and get it right away.
We got Drew, is it Holderford? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in.
What's up, Drew? You're not mowing snow today, are you, buddy? Drew, you mowing snow, bro?
Hayden.
Has Jeremiah got in?
KP Landscaping can hear you.
Good deal. Had somebody say that they didn't see the worksheet for the PDF. Everybody see the PDF in the email with the link to this chat? That PDF is the worksheet that you can actually fill out about your company as we go through. I think it's really going to help you this next year. So just some like bullet points and notes. There's going to be a lot more content that we cover, but that's just like the base that we're going to go by.
We've got Harrison Property Management, yes. Jose, yes. Daniel, yes. Hayden Riggins, yes. We got 16 people in. Could we not have 1, 2, 3? There should be 18 total. So we're only missing 2 people.
Chris is still having problems.
Still ain't working. LO. Yep, the enemy gonna try to keep me out. I hear you, brother. You got this. America.
I'll FaceTime you if I have to, Chris.
It says, Hayden says you could own any mower. Which one would it be?
Ooh. It's controversial, but I like my X-Mark Navigators. If I'm gonna manicure lawns, it's that. I love my X-Mark Navigators. And my Graveleys, they're indestructible. Even after 4 or 5 years of abuse, we weld them back up and they keep going. So I mean, we have 2,000 and 3,000 hours on these machines. We put anywhere from 800 to 1,000 hours a year on these machines, and they put up with it. We're not easy on them either. So. Let's try and let's send the PDF back over to Jeremiah just by itself. That way he can get that. Did anybody else have trouble receiving the PDF?
Jeremiah, is it Nicholson?
11 minutes. Is that legit? That's pretty sweet. I don't like on Instagram how when they do a countdown and you share it to your story, it doesn't keep the countdown going. It takes a shot of it. I don't like that. I wish it kept that countdown rolling.
Is it Jeremiah's Landscape?
Yeah. Yeah, Jeremiah's Landscape Services.
Drew wants to know, are you going to do the lawn care bod warm up?
You missed it, bro. You're late. You're late. That was at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm not showing his payment going through.
Do you hire guys to mow during the summertime, then lay off some for winter?
I hire a lot of high school, college students, and so we put them through like a mentorship program. And those guys usually, they come in May, they'll leave in August. But my core team, we have like 12 right now. And it's the same guys we've had for a long time. I think of those 12, 8 of them have been with us 5 years or more, or no, 3 years or more. And then everybody else has been with us 24 months. So, and then one of my guys is a new guy. He's only been with us a year. But the rest of our crew, there's definitely seasonal work, but those guys just kind of like, by the time late season comes, they burn themselves out and they are gone and moving on to something else. But I try not to do any layoffs. This is actually the first year I'd ever done it, and that's just because of my downsize in the company.
Do you have a tough time rehiring the same guys year after year?
No, that's the best thing is those guys that we get at 14, 15 years old that we can train up as they go through high school, that once they're coming home for the summer for college that they need that job. And so that's where I found some of my best help. I'd rather get them early and train them properly than to have them coming in thinking they already know it. Got 8 minutes, guys. Waiting on a few more people to log in here.
How many maintenance crews do you have?
Sorry, I got a message too. People are messaging me on my cell phone that are on the chat. Maintenance crews right now. Right now, since it's late season, we're actually just running 2. But come summer, we'll be running 4 again. So last year we ran 3 crews, mowing 330 yards a week, 385 on every 9-day rotation. So I'd say 10-day, but we don't work Sundays. So. Lamont wants us to arm wrestle.
Dude, what?
Kevin and you?
Yes.
I mean, why not?
That's what I started laughing about.
Is your area heavily populated or rural?
It's pretty pretty heavily populated.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
It's a mouthful, but yeah, no, I think we have 40-something thousand, and so we got a lot of lakes around the area, so a lot of lake houses. And then we have the largest gated retirement community in the United States, Hot Springs Village. So it's between those two, it's very heavily populated. Luckily, I live on the outside of town, so I don't have to deal with all the chaos. Are you checking the email? See if we got anything else coming in.
How do you retain employees?
Ooh, how do I retain employees? That's another course of the playbook, but it's all about company morale, or company atmosphere and team morale. So, 100%. We do some crazy stuff. We have a lot of fun. A whole lot of fun. A lot of team building, ice cream trucks, just a lot of that. Investing in your employees, making them feel like they're part of the family. That's huge. And then, I do a devotional, and those guys, some of the guys get involved in that. That makes a real tight connection. So. I was talking to somebody today on Instagram, and they're like, "Yeah, it makes it more like a family," and it absolutely does. So that's huge. Just when people know that you genuinely care about them, they want to stick around. Through the tough times, they want to help you push and build your business and grow your business. And so, everybody feels invested. And then when they're rewarded for that, it helps even more.
What's your best advertisement?
Ooh.
So,
Good one.
that's section 3 that we're gonna hit tonight about 6:40. Best form of advertisement? Me. That sounds so bad when I said it out loud. So we got just a few minutes. If you need to run to the bathroom, run to the bathroom. Well, hey, you probably got me on your cell phone, so. But. All right, we're going to take a vote real quick. We're talking about making the videos for 2019 in that 6-minute mark so that we can be known as the bathroom break lawn care channel. So whenever you go to your bathroom break for the day, you pull out, it says turf, and you check out their video. Good or no? Should we stick to that 10 to 15-minute range? So what do y'all think? I'm going to ask y'all questions now.
How do you get past 25 lawn companies in your area?
There's probably more like 55 lawn care companies in my area, but it's all in how you brand and market your company. That's a lot of what we're going to be going over tonight. So I think that I'm going to show you exactly what I've done, breaking down, the last 10 years with my business and how we've been able to grow. So,
How tall are you?
right now, probably 6'2". If I would stand like I'm supposed to, 6'3".
About 3 minutes. And I think we got 18 people on.
All right, here's the email. Send over the information for him, and then I'll send it back over to him.
They
So,
will.
yeah, and then let's try to get that. 3 minutes. Three minutes, just enough time for a workout. Come on, guys. Let's do this. We're gonna grow our businesses. We gotta get the lawn care bot. Even if you're not a lawn care company, it's gonna help you. I promise. I've got a landscape and a contractor's version of this dance too. Just wait. Let's go. Drew, if you'll FaceTime me where I can put you up here on the screen doing it, we'll get this dance going. I was messing with Dixon earlier.
I'm getting called out.
You are? On what?
They want me in the lawn care bod.
I know, guys. Both of these guys. Somebody
had to film it. Somebody had to film it.
Produce and film. We're good. Alrighty.
I'll monitor it, but I mean, do you want to wait till they pop in?
Do you want to take one more question?
Yeah, one more question and then we're going to
Have you
get this
ever-
thing going.
Have you ever tried lawn painting?
Lawn painting? Like painting the dormant dead grass?
Or just
Make it green? No, I haven't. I have not tried that. I thought about putting a dye in my Total Kill one time so I could paint fence lines.
He did say yes, that's what he meant.
Okay. No, I've heard about guys doing it in Texas and out in California. I haven't done it. So, all right, guys, we're about to go live. We're already live. So, all right. I'm gonna check my phone, make sure nobody else was trying to get in, and then we're gonna get this thing rolling. I know I said 5:45, but you know I'm a nice guy, so. All right. Here we go. We got two more guys that just came in. Right there. Did we get Ryan Reynolds?
Alright, I got Jeremiah. Let me get it in.
Okay. We have one more guy that we're sending over to, and that should wrap up everybody that we were expecting. All right, one more time, guys. We're going to check for audio, and then we're going to get this thing rolling. So, can everybody good? Chris, did we get everything worked out on your end, buddy? All right, good deal. Anybody having any issues at all before we get rolling?
Alright, email sent to Jeremiah. We're just waiting on him to get in now.
Okay.
We are up to 21.
All right.
We need,
What's our
Jeremiah
number
to come in.
supposed to be?
Do what?
What's our number supposed to be?
22, I believe. We had 29 total, but we had 7 guys that didn't communicate back with us.
We're at 21. We got one more time. Jeremiah, once he jumps in, we at least need him to comment.
So, if you guys want to watch this back, I believe it's going to be up for, we're going to do for like 30 days in the process of us taking tonight's recording and put it over into a video form with visual aids. I'm going to try my best to use some visual aids up on the screen here tonight as we kind of go through some stuff when we talk about my company specifically. That way it'll help you kind of visualize for your company as well. So we're just going to go over a few of those things. I hope a lot of you had the chance to check out my video where we were talking about the keys to success and kind of defining that. So I hope you had a chance to check that out. If you did, it's going to make a lot of sense what we're getting into right here at the beginning. So, Drew, I appreciate you getting back in here. Drew actually came to our course in Hot Springs, came and shadowed our business. And so it was really neat to be able to connect with him. And so I appreciate you getting back on here tonight. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you got to hear. But there's going to be a lot of new stuff, plus a ton of Q&A there at the end. So really do appreciate you, tuning back in tonight. So are we good?
We got 22 in.
You got 22?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good deal. So, all right, put my phone down and we'll get rolling. Double check with him on the messenger. Make sure that was him that rolled in, or somebody double check. Let's get going. So, all right, guys. Once again, thank you. We had 22 of you guys tune in to tonight's live stream. This is the Playbook Course 1. And so what we're going to be doing is the Playbook consists of 15 sections. And tonight we're going to be going over 3 of those sections. And then we're going to get into, this is going to run us about an hour. And then we're going to open up the floor for Q&A. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, we will leave this up live for you to tune into for the next 30 days. We have a few guys that weren't able, we had 29 or 30 that actually registered total that weren't able to be here. So we're going to leave it up, let them check it out. That link should be good for you to do that with. And then we'll pull it when the other video goes live, and we'll be charging $60 for the other people that didn't become and join in on the live streams. So I'm going to try to acknowledge the questions as I end sections and kind of go back, and then at the end we're going to open the floor up entirely for that. So we'll get into probably the first 20 minutes is where I'm going to try to hit this first section, and we'll just do a quick pause. Let me swap out batteries, make sure we're good to go on our recording, and then we'll just keep on rolling. So I do appreciate you guys. What I want to talk about first is the winner's guide, which is the keys to success. On there, I hope all of you guys got the PDF. And so if you're going through it with me, that would be great. And it says that this will be the step-by-step process of you not only figuring out your company's identity, but it will determine the levels of success that you're striving to achieve. And so any of you that have seen my other video where I talked about doing the downsize of my company, figuring out a balance between Christ, work, and family, that was a very humbling, very difficult thing, because I spent the last 10 years growing my business, the last 8 focused on It's His Turf, and that was something that I was just striving and I was climbing for. And I decided that, as I made a few, I bought out a company, made a few bad decisions this past year that were hitting me. We went through some audits, lawsuit, different things that had happened that we'll be sharing with you guys pretty soon in a YouTube video. But as those things were happening, I had to realize either one, I could continue focusing on my business, but in that, God really got a hold of me and showed me that I was needing to change my focus on my family. Because every day I would go to work. I mean, there was a time where I was working 80 and 90 hours a week, and I wasn't able to spend that time with my family, and it was all because I said I was doing it for my family. So the whole key of the playbook is that I'm going to show you the steps that I took in growing my company from 17 clients to over 2,000 clients. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through that step by step, how I did it growing from a lawn care company into a full service contracting company. And I'm going to show you the steps along the way when I hired employees, when I moved an employee over into supervisor, when we got into other services and we expanded. And then that way you'll kind of see the way of doing that. Also, in our downsize, I'm getting back to the size company that I'm trying to help you guys build. And so there is a lot better margin. When you get up in that $1 million range, you start looking at 5 to 7% margins. And it's crazy because in some of the things that we do, we see anywhere from 40 to 50% margin, and we see anywhere from 45 to 85% margin. And so as we go through this tonight and we talk about the services that you offer as a company and how to do that, those are things that I want you to be thinking about, are the services that you're spending a lot of time on, not making a lot of money, and the services that you are able to make very good margin, keep busy, and that you can actually see training and setting your crew up to do full time. So let's just go ahead and let's jump right into it. And so it's very basic. What I want you to do is I want you to just basically start over at square one with your company, and we're going to go through these steps. So if you've been in business 5 or 10 years, this still pertains to you, because what it's going to do is it's going to bring things that you may have not thought about in years back to your mind. So it's going to bring it back consciously to you that you can focus on. And so the first thing is just company name. Like, what is your company name? I was sharing early on like what went into my company name and developing that, and that was supposed to be It's Your Turf. And I felt convicted. I felt like God was saying to glorify Him, and I changed my company name to It's His Turf to give Him the glory. I really knew that I was standing out bold and that I was going to be criticized for it because that's not something that a lot of people are open and receptive to. But I was willing to take that risk because I felt like God had spoken very directly to me. Now, guys, it doesn't mean that you have to have this crazy name for your company, but there needs to be thought behind it. Some of you guys, I know that it's your name that's associated with your business name, and that's great because what your name is it's your reputation that you're representing, and so that's huge. And so there needs to be a lot of thought. I know there's a few guys that are in here that are just starting their business. They're in the early stages of that. So right now is the point where you can really put some thought into your business name and get it out there. So when you're doing your business name, once that's established, what you want to look at is your motto. You need a motto. You need something to stand on. And the reason you do is because as we start talking about branding, it's you and your reputation that you're branding and selling. And so for me, we'll go ahead and pull that up, is the back of, on the back of my brochure, my bifold brochure that I give to all my customers. It has what is my, on the back of my cards has what is my motto. And so my motto is Isaiah 48, and that's the verse that says, "The grass withers and the flowers fade, but the word of God stands forever." And there's irony in that, because I spend every day doing this, but I know that at the end of the day, I'm to bring God the glory. And so, that's what's become my motto, and I stand bold in that. The next thing is going to be your mission statement. So for the mission statement, this is a longer version of what you and your company are striving to do. And so for me, it is every day we strive to bring the glory to God by reshaping and beautifying what He has created, and we are set apart from other companies with our quality, honesty, and affordable services. I hope that through this business, we will be men pleasing in His sight, and that we are His hands, and that we are the hands and feet of Christ, and desire to love His people. This is the same thing that you're going to see me represent through my Instagram and everything that I'm doing. I'm trying to live out this motto. And so, back to the motto. A lot of people say, well, it's quality services at affordable price, or integrity, and just go on through that. There's a lot of different things that you can do as your motto or your mission statement, but you need something that you can stand on. That's kind of your non-negotiable of doing business, because unfortunately when doing business there's a lot of gray areas, and you want to make sure that everything's black and white. And so in that, you kind of establish this with your motto and with your mission statement, and that allows you to be able to start to brand your company. So once you have those three things established, you really know your identity and the direction that you're going with your company. My identity was 1, to represent Christ, 2, to offer affordable services, and then 3, to be His hands and feet. So I knew that in everything that I was doing, that I was to go out and to love others. And so, that was a huge thing for me. So once you have that established, the next thing you have to have established is what services are you going to be providing? And a lot of you guys already know that. I'm a lawn care company. I'm a landscape company. I do irrigation. And so that's great. But what do you do best? And so when I have to really think about it, I've been in it 10 years, and so I had to sit back a few months ago and I'd say, okay, what do I do best? Well, my lawn care's on autopilot. We make anywhere from $15,000 to $22,000 profit a month on our lawn care services. We go and we mow 330 something yards a week. We have little to no callbacks. That's something that we do really well. And so that was something that we had to look at. The next, for me, we were doing all kinds of services. And so, the next thing down below that says, what services do you provide as a company? For me, we were a full service company. We did everything exterior. And so that was from the design to the install. Early on, about 2011, 2012, I had to step away from pressure washing and staining. We had a couple jobs that went south on decks, tearing some stuff up. And so we pulled away from that service. That's a hard thing to do, especially when you've made really good money on a couple other jobs. But we realized that wasn't our focus. That wasn't where our focus was, and that wasn't where our best margin was. And so now, when I look at what services I do best, if I had to narrow down to two, I would pick lawn maintenance and hardscapes. Those are two things that we do extremely well, and that we have the least amount of callbacks on. And so the next thing that you're going to look at is what other services. So that doesn't mean that I'm just going to do lawn care and hardscapes, but it may mean that I only do irrigation and small landscape jobs for the clients that I'm doing lawn care for. And it may mean that I only sell landscaping and irrigation for the jobs that I'm doing a complete hardscape install on. And so, yes, we do those things, and then yes, we sell them as upsells into our other contracts, but I'm not going out and I'm not chasing those projects, trying to keep a crew on the road, doing those things day after day. I'm trying to look at what the residual income is of my lawn maintenance, and then the high profit margin of my hardscapes. And then it goes on next to what services do you need to stop providing. That's where I listed out pressure washing, staining decks, electrical and plumbing, because we were doing full contracting. I can't tell you how many times that I would have a contractor walk away and I would have to go back and finish the electrical or finish the plumbing. I would waste a day, day and a half and not make any money, but yet I had crews out on the road making $200, $300, $400 profit a day. And so why was I focusing attention on that? The short gain wasn't worth all the steady setbacks that I was incurring from that. And another thing is construction. We had to step away a lot from construction. And this may be, you may say, well, I'm a full service lawn care company and that's all we do, that's all we're focusing on. And so right here may be what clients do you need to let go, which, and we'll get into that on the lawn care portion, but, which ones are outside, the density of your schedules, which ones are the ones that cause you a lot of trouble, which are the ones that string you out for your money, which are the ones that call you day after day, week after week, that you're having to go back and pay attention to, but you're making probably the least amount of money off of. How do you cut and trim those things away? And so this is all important because you don't want to be chasing a bunch of different things because it seems good in the scheme of things, then you're missing out on making that margin. Because as we get into what's next, and that's defining your level of success, it's very important that you know what you do best and what services that you want to offer, and that you know which ones that you don't want to offer. Because the hardest thing to do is to tell a client no, but you absolutely have to do it. So as we get into success, what does success mean to you? As I got into this, guys, success for me meant building this big company. I wanted to build a very large company. And so I was adding services year after year. I was pushing. I wanted to be a full service company. So as soon as we got lawn care figured out, we were getting into landscaping, and then into irrigation, and then into hardscaping, and then into pools, and then into construction. And it was just building this huge company, all these crews. And I thought that it was going to be because I was going to have the biggest company in town. I was going to have, 50 employees, and that was going to be our focus. As my marriage started to struggle and I was seeing it affect me at home, I realized that I had to change and redefine my level of success. And so if you're looking for how to grow this monstrous company, you can take what I'm going to show you and apply it to it and probably achieve those things. But for me, as a family man and a man of Christ, and what I want to help you do is I want to help you have a good balance of those things and to find a way to keep your cost down and your margins up, so as you grow your company, you don't experience those growing pains. And so, for me, what success means now is to have guys employed. I had to pray about what number of employees I was to have, because I had 32. And in this downsize, I knew that I personally could not manage that. I had 3 supervisors at that time over different divisions of my company. And so I know that I was the most profitable in my company when I had 1 supervisor and anywhere from 6 to 10 employees. And so that became the new focus of my attention. And it wasn't because I wanted this money, but I didn't want to continue to invest in my company and be away from my family, and that in 10 years from now have this large bank account and no relationships at home. And so that's why my focus changed, guys. I wanted to be at home on Saturdays and Sundays and take my family on trips and hikes, and we go out to a different state park. That was my way of being intentional. We hit like 35 state parks this past year in only like less than 3 months. I mean, we were just hitting them, boom, boom, boom. That was my way of being intentional with my family. And I probably in 10 the 10 seasons I've been doing this, I only missed maybe 20 Saturdays of work. And in that 3 months, I probably only worked like 20 hours combined across all the Saturdays. And so that was huge. That was huge for me. And so that's what my level of success began to be, was I want to be at home with my family in the evenings. I want to be at home with my family on the weekends. I want to go to church with my family on Sunday. And I want to still have a business that is not only providing an income, but providing livings for these other guys that, and to grow that. In my size company, I knew that my costs, were $12,000 a month, a little over $12,000 a month, just in bills. And then I knew that payroll was going to run me about $40,000 a month. So I knew that I needed to bring in about $55,000 a month before I paid anything like fuel, wear and tear, and stuff like that. So, so as you go into the bottom of this, guys, I want you to define your level of success and what that is. Like I said, my focus did not become about money. I knew what I had to bring in, but it became about family. That became my goal. I wanted a company that I wasn't getting callbacks on. I wasn't getting, just chasing those random phone calls in the evenings of something my guys missed or something that we tore up. Because with 30 employees, it's going to happen. I wanted those phone calls to be fewer. I wanted us to do something that we were really good at. So my level of success became, I wanted 12 employees. I wanted to work about 50 to 65 hours a week. And I personally, as a company, I want to bring 750,000 in with that size of a company, which is very doable working those hours. And so that's how I built that triangle that we had talked about. Can we pull that up real quick? Anybody that hasn't seen that from the thumbnail of our video. And so what it is, guys, is I take a triangle and we put the definition of success into the middle. And then you're going to put those other key points of income, size of your company, and the hours that you want to work. And you want to list those in order of what's most important to you to what's least important to you. And then it needs to be very much on the forefront of your mind, because it's a mathematical equation of you figuring out how to achieve the one of least importance to you. So if the hours you work is most important, or the income, then that is going to determine the size company that you need, and mimicking mine on how you're going to get the revenue. And so this over here, guys, you want to put your key of success in the middle, and then once you know these other 3 components, we'll do the equation backwards, and this is something that I'll help you with. So we got 2 minutes, so we're going to be wrapping that section up. Let's go ahead and swap things out, and we'll keep going. But so guys, we're going to dig into the triangle real quick and how to do that. And so, like I said, with my company, if I run a lot of 2-man crews. And so if I run a 2-man crew, I know that my base minimum of sending those guys out with my routes is $200 a day profit. That's after insurance, that's after wear and tear, that's after all of that. So then once I take that and I say, okay, I've got 10 trucks out there, that's $1,000 a day profit that I'm bringing in. And so once we do that, I know that it's going to take me, and managing that, about 50 hours a week. That's 10 hours a day of out there selling jobs, lining jobs up, managing the books, taking care of all that stuff to bring in that income. And so once we do that, guys, then we go in, and that's going to determine our income that we're going to be bringing in. And so I know that my income that we're trying to bring in, 750,000. My break even is going to be sitting at 510,000. So that allows me to do things like have a supervisor in here to help share the weight of that, focus on our service calls and things like that. So I hope that now that you kind of have this idea of who you want to be as a company and what your keys of success are, that we can really get into how you're going to brand and market your company in this next year. So for me, it's really important that we get that established, guys, before we dig into how to brand it, how to market it, how to get these jobs, and how to bring everything in. And so let's go ahead and we'll move over to page 2. And at the bottom of that, if you got the PDF, income got pushed over to page 2. Just handwrite it at the bottom of page 1. And then if any of you have any questions on that, I'd love to help you out later on going through that and really defining your business. All right, guys, so we're going to get into the basic branding of your company. So when you're basic branding your company, one thing that you've really got to figure out is sales and the psychology behind sales. Really bothered me, I dropped this card, so I had to pick it back up. All right, and so in that is going to be consistency of your brand. And so in branding your company, something that I've done is the impact font. That was something very much on the earliest stages, is that I wanted to keep things simple and bold and pop out at you. So I did impact font bold. And that's what you'll see with all of my advertisements. The next thing was a color scheme. I needed a color scheme for my company. If any of you seen a lot of our trucks, up until I think like a year and a half ago, all of our trucks were charcoal gray with black flatbeds or black brush guards, and that was something that we just did across our entire company. And the reason is because in the psychology behind selling, what you're looking for is, say somebody unconsciously that you're trying to sell to. You need anywhere, I call them beans, and so you need 8 to 10 of these per person for them to make a sell with you. This isn't somebody that's pursuing you. This is somebody that is not a client that you're trying to pick up. So when your phone's not ringing, these are the people that you're targeting to reach. And so what you do in the branding of your company, once you have your logo, your color scheme, and your font, and the reason you want a font is you need that consistency across everything. If they see your shirt when you're in the store or at the gas station, or when they see your truck drive by down the road, or they see the yard sign, each of those are times that they're, going to be thinking about you, and you're getting those bings. And so, you're going to jump right into the basic forms of advertisement that you do. And so what we want to talk about here is across your business, you've got to have consistency. So I have Kelly green, chartreuse, charcoal gray, and then black. Black was, I wanted a color, another color as far as like polos, the trailers, the trucks, things like that, to have another dark background on, that those Kelly green and those chartreuse just really popped and jumped out at you. And so I don't try to fill it with a lot of my services and stuff like that. I just try to keep it bold in my name of my company and the phone number. And so as we jump into these forms of advertisement, what I want you guys to do is circle the ones that you are doing, that you feel like you're doing extremely well. And so as you go through there, circle those. And one thing that I did on my branding is I decided to go on my business cards, my door hangers, and my flyers. I decided to get away from the chartreuse, bring it a little more classy is what I say, and I used the color ivory, but I kept the same font. And so I'm going to show you guys a couple of those up here. So we had ivory, we still had the Kelly green, but I was just trying to keep it very classy across there. But like I said, you still have the same boldness. These lines here, the lawn maintenance, sprinklers, and the phone number, I laid those out to represent the 3 lines that are underneath my logo. So that way you would relate the two together. On the back is where you're going to see my motto, which is the scripture, that we stand behind, and then some of the other services, that we offer, commercial, residential, insured, reliable, things like that. I was just trying to keep it very basic. Something else that you're going to see that is consistent across these 3 forms of advertisement, which I call my paper forms of advertisement: a card for a customer to take and put in their pocket, a door hanger to give them a price with, and then my flyer, which they're going to probably throw away, unfortunately, is I wanted there to be a consistency. And the consistency, not only in the color scheme of using that ivory, is this image back behind it. And so I chose this water feature that I had done over at my parents' place for them, and I did this consistently across all the other forms of advertisement. So as you go from this and we look at my my brochure, you're going to see as soon as you open my brochure, you're going to see that image displayed again. So you're going to see it here on these outside edges. So when you open it right here, it still keeps that image together. And then even as you open it up beyond that, where you've got the color scheme, as you've got the projects and the pictures for the visuals for the customer, you now have the same image back behind it as well. And so one reason why is I was trying to subliminally sell water features because I love water features. And that was something that I was trying to push without actually pushing it onto a client. And then throughout, guys, you're just going to see that same consistency. The impact font that you're going to relate with my company, and just that same, imagery. Let's go on to the door hangers. And so I've sent these over to some of you guys, a template for you to use in building your own door hangers. But what you're going to see is that same consistency, guys. You're going to see that picture that I kept throughout everything else, the same ivory and the impact font, and you're going to see the scripture, which is my motto, and then my services. I'm trying to, so in case they see one, throw it away, and then see another, I'm getting those points of contact with them. All right, because if the customer calls you, then it's on you to sell. But if you're using any of these 3 forms of advertisement, whether it's cards, at the gas station or at the deli, or trying to pass out brochures, or if you're putting door hangers on doors, you want all of those things to be consistent. These things are consistent as well with my yard signs, so that way that image is across everything. Let's go ahead and go to the back. This is something else that we'll get into when we really get into the lawn maintenance, but you see that we're adding a price. That's another big part of our sales. So guys, that gets you through like the first 4 things of advertisement: your business cards, your flyers, and your door hangers. Even into, like I said, the yard signs. I don't have a picture of that for you, but it was on into our yard signs as well. The next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is that second line of advertisement. And so this is going to be things like your truck decals, your social media, your ads, your websites, and things like that. And so what I decided was in our t-shirts that we're going to be bold with our color scheme, do that as well. And then we're going to put that with our trucks and our decals. And so what we did is you will see on our trucks, they're charcoal gray. They have the bright, bold logo on them. It's just got the name. It's got the grass. It's got the lines and the phone number. That's it. And then it's got the same thing with our shirts. And so that's just the beans that we're trying to get, the brand consistency to our clients. And so what I want to do is for you guys to just be thinking about that is, do you have a lot of stuff that is, just spread across the board? Hey, I got these cards and they were good and I ordered them and I have those. And now I have these flyers and things like that, door hangers, etc. And what you want to do is you want to be looking at, are all these things consistent? Because as we start to talk about here in just a little bit, the psychology behind the sales, that is going to be very important. The same thing, guys, is going to be your website. Your website needs to, be consistent as well. That website, if you go in and you look at ours, it's going to, have a lot of the same images, a lot of the same fonts, everything just carried throughout. We're still continuing to brand and to push the SEO of It's His Turf, even though people don't know, maybe they don't know what that is. We'll have people call us and ask us if we're a lawn care or a landscape company, kind of hesitant, but they saw our stuff and that's what it looks like we're resembling, and then we land that job on it. There's a couple other things that we don't do a lot of, which is like ads. We don't run a whole lot of ads. We do a lot of free forms of advertisement. And that's what a lot of this course is going to be about, guys, is how you can actually go and do these forms of advertisement and it not cost you money. I'm trying to keep that overhead down as you build your company and go to the next levels. And so everything that you saw that I just showed you, I actually designed. I put those together. I contacted a friend that had Adobe, and we went through and built those. And then we used a website called Got Print, where we're able to get bulk prints and not have to pay a design company. And so that's the big thing that you want to do. And a lot of these websites, they're going to have templates for you to use in doing that. And so what I want to do is I want to talk about target marketing now. And this is going to get into the psychology of your marketing. And so we've talked about the branding of your company identity, knowing who you are, and then also now, forms of advertisement that you use to advertise. And so the reason that all of that is, very much important is because for me in growing my company, I was my biggest marketer. I did little to zero paying of marketing from 17 to over 300 clients. And it was all done in how I presented those things. And so from the get-go, I was presenting myself, professional with the polo. I was pushing and I was selling myself to, bankers, to real estate agents, to contractors, to anybody that I would come across. And so it's important that if you're starting out your business, that you establish relationships with those people, but you also have that form of professionalism with you. My company, for years, we would do a color scheme on the shirts, and it was a pattern. The whole crew would wear green on Mondays and Thursdays. They would wear yellow on Tuesdays and Fridays, and they would wear gray on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So we had a green, yellow, gray, green, yellow, gray. And so as my company was out, I had 10, 15, 20 guys. Everybody was consistent. We were drawing the eye. I remember even early on that people would say, well, I've seen your trucks everywhere. And I only had like 2 trucks. But it was that brand consistency of having two charcoal gray trucks with the same brand and logo on them. And so that was very huge for me in landing those sales. And so as we get, like I was telling you guys, in that psychology of sales, it's 8 to 10 bings is what I call it, that you need to have to somebody to sell to. And so with those, it's all those forms of advertisement. Yes, you can do radio. 10 years ago, before Facebook really got real big, I know commercials were huge. Guys, we have the opportunity with our videos now to put out, way better video than, the commercials that you'd see ran on the 10 o'clock news. And so, that's really important. Video does a lot better. This is kind of impromptu, but has anybody got my phone? I had, I pulled something up. I don't know if any of you saw it on my Instagram the other day, but I took 2 screenshots. And so what those 2 screenshots were, guys, is one was Almonds Landscaping, Caleb over there with Almonds Landscaping, and the other one was Techo Block, a huge hardscape company. And so with those 2 things that I was pointing out was the power of video. I'm trying to pull it up. I think I sent it over to. I send that over to you, Kevin.
Yes.
All right. See if you can pull up Kevin's. Move that over. We're gonna see if you can get a visual here in a second, but I don't want to spend too much time looking for that. But guys, what it was Caleb. He had video up there, and it was his top 9 of the year. And on his top 9, he had tens of thousands of views on all of his. And he has like 11,000 followers. And then you take over and you look at Techo Block, and Techo Block has almost 40,000 followers. And they had, less than, they were in the thousands, like 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 views. And it was all in that power of video. Because the power of video is more engaging, so you're getting that more interaction with the client. And so that was something, since we were kind of chasing and talking about video, that I wanted to share with you guys. was just that. And we're going to see if we pull it up here in a minute and let you see a visual. But if not, I'll post it back on my Instagram story so you can check it out. But I want to give you some real life examples that this has played out for me because, like I said, I did not do any forms of advertisement beside executing all of these very well. So every time that I would get a call from a client, I would show up. I would have a truck that had a logo on it. I would have my polo. I would show up. I would have a form of advertisement, a business card, a brochure. A brochure would be selling my additional services. I would give that to them. On my brochure, it gives you a link to my Facebook and to my website. So that's 2 more places where they can see me or search and find me. In the yards that we were doing, they had little yard signs. And so we were constantly putting out that reminder. And so, I think I shared in some of my videos that we would, be in a neighborhood. I would go and blow somebody's driveway. And then what would happen is we would turn around 3 years later and pick that client up, full time. And so those things were just paying off by consistently having that brand recognition, having our name out there. So now that the lady was deciding to do the services, we had our enough, what I call bings in her mind that we became the first company of choice. And so now they pay us anywhere, I think it's like $175 for that specific contract I'm talking about. And I want to talk, some of you guys have seen the big pull I did this past year. It was a $330,000 project. And, a lot of you may think that, wonder how I got that project. And so we're going to talk about that. I did a pull down the road from that project. I had a truck and trailer that was marked. The client had driven by a couple times and seen our truck and trailer, saw there was construction going on and all that. I had a wrought iron guy that did all my wrought iron on that job already talked to this customer about me, and they never called me. So I had a very good foot in the door, and they never called me because they thought he was just referring somebody. And so they decided to keep looking for a pool guy because they had been burned on that. And so the project went on. We finished up construction, and in that I had a yard sign, but my yard sign said leaf removal and holiday decorations. And so of that, with my leaf sign and my holiday decoration sign, the customer called and said, "Hey, I've seen you guys over there working. I saw your sign. Do you mind telling me, who it is that did the pull?" I was like, "Well, we did." And so they called me on a little $15 leaf removal sign. And the reason they called me is because they had seen my trucks over there and they knew that I would know what was going on. So go into further from that, we go in, we sit down, we do the presentation. Yes, we had the right tools. We showed up, we looked professional. We had a 3D rendering that we spent days on because we were just trying to make it perfect. And then we went and we sat down with them. Well, after we sat down with them for hours, went through the design, we left. They then started to do their homework on us. They started looking at our website. Then they started calling around and checking referrals. And so that's when all of the back end work started to work for us. The website, the other contractors, and then they made the relation back to the wrought iron guy that we were originally who he had referred. And so, but it all started with a yard sign. So you never know what's going to get you a $100 lawn contract or even a $330,000 pool contract. And that's the reason why I like to say, if you're going to go about it with a free form of advertisement, you really need to make sure that you're branding yourself and marketing yourself well across all of those forms. But you really need to have your hand in all of those free baskets of different forms of advertisement, because you never know which one of those is going to pull for you. I know that we've done door-to-door sales. The very first time I ever did door-to-door sales, it was an anomaly. We landed like 27 contracts on 9 flyers. It was crazy. That doesn't happen. The next time we passed out 300 and we didn't land any. And so we had to really dig into that. So I started looking deep into, just door-to-door blind sales. So basically that's like mass mail outs. That's going to be, if you go pay a guy to go put flyers on doors, or if you yourself put flyers on doors. And that's without pricing that you have like less than 0.5% of landing that. And then that's crazy. And so I said, okay, how can I better those odds? So the way that you better those odds is that you add a price. So when you add a price, that gives you a better chance and brings your odds up to like 2%, which still isn't good. And so we started looking deeper into how can we do this for our company? How can we take it to the next level again and get better success out of our free advertising? It was costing us the form of marketing, but it wasn't costing us much more than our time. And so that's when we came up with a strategy that I've shared with you guys on my YouTube, which was clover leafing. That was hitting neighbors to where we were already at because they were already seeing my truck in the neighborhood, seeing the yard sign, seeing my guys. I was already getting those beings of contact. So now that they saw my flyer and that they saw my price, my chances were increasing. So then if I did anything on social media and it was promoted, I was already targeting them. And so that's what helped us to start to build our schedules and to get really dense schedules. Because, like I said, we'll mow 116 lawns in a day. And so it was all built on taking those schedules where I used to chase 10 lawns a day, and we are now doing 20. We have that visual. So we're going to pull that visual up real quick before we dig too much into that. I know it's a little bit of back and forth. But this right here is that screenshot, guys. I hope you can see it at home, of Almond's page. And you see 50,000, 90,000, 140,000, 122,000 views on his interactions with his videos. And then you go on to Techo Blocks, which he has 11,000 followers, but then you go on to Techo Blocks here in a minute. And you're going to see what his pictures and still images are doing. So then you take somebody with a 40,000 follower and you're getting 4,000, 2,000, 1,800. And so that kind of gets us into, once you're doing all these things right, these are the things that you need, what we've discussed so far. This is what you need kind of on your side to start to promote your business. And once you're doing those things right, then we start talking about new age technologies. And so I forgot something, guys. I'm sorry. Rewind 2 minutes. All right. So when I was talking about the door hangers and doing the clover leafing, we had decent success out of that. We would probably land 1 or 2. But when we started doing it on Saturdays when the clients were home, we actually would see, anywhere from like 60 to 70% success if the customer was out in their yard, doing work in their yard, and we were making that point of contact with them and not just putting it on their door. And so that's just another time that they not only got that form of marketing and advertisement, but now they got to see your face and associate you with your company. My first 300 clients, I strictly built from word of mouth in these forms of advertising, not doing anything on social media. So I was able to go from 17 to 300, all from the presentation of myself. I was constantly selling myself to everybody. I was giving them a card. I was reaching out to them. I was making relationships. I was making friendships, just anything I could do to put my business out there, let people know what I was doing, and because I didn't have the money to spend, out there on ads or on newspaper and stuff like that. And so this was my way of pushing it. And if you'll put the legwork in, it's not as easy as it just falling into your lap, but you can do it with little to no money up front. Drew, I'm going to use you as an example. Drew came in, he went to our class a few weeks ago. He left, he was on fire. He went and printed a couple hundred, flyers. He put prices on them. I don't know if you exactly, but it was a couple hundred he passed out, and he was able to land a couple jobs. And so he left, he put the legwork in, he put the pricing on there, and he was able to pick up those jobs. And so he went out, I remember it was a weekend, and there was people out, doing work in their yard, stuff like that, and he was able to start to land those. And so it's out of the comfort zone for some people, but it's going to be what it's going to take to get your company to the next level. So guys, we started getting into it. We talked about video, we talked about, images and stuff like that. A lot of you guys are influencers, you've got social media pages, things like that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of dig into a little bit about that, but then how you're using forms of free marketing, which is social media, to kind of hit, if you're not that door-to-door sales kind of person, and getting your face out there, that you can get your face out there on the camera and on video and start to push it. And so what we want to talk about is I want to talk about just free stuff like Facebook. So you have a Facebook business page. My Facebook business page is strictly going to be for finished product. There's some times that I'm going to be running ads, and we'll talk about ads here in just a minute, but I want to talk about the free forms first. And that's this year, our strategy for marketing is education. So we're going to be educating our customers to sell. So it's that subliminal sell that we want them to see. We want them to see what we're doing out in their yards. We want them to see, what my crews are doing day to day. And so when they look out and they look at their yard, they say, hey, let's call these guys. And so we're going to continue to hit on those points. And it's not just still images. It is some still images, but a lot of it's video. That's why, some of you, if you follow me on Facebook as well, you'll see those short clips about trimming the ornamental grasses or crepe myrtles and, sprinkler winterization and stuff like that, because it beats an image of a frozen, busted sprinkler pump to, tell a customer how to winterize, because if they want to winterize it themselves, they're going to do it themselves. But when you educate them, they're like, hey, I haven't done that yet. Then they call me because this guy knows what he's talking about and he's willing to show me. And so that gives you another foot in the door. And that's gonna, like you saw, it's, a lot more than I think. What was that? 100 times? It's 100 times, the amount of return that you're gonna get through your video versus a still image. And so that's why you see a lot of our focus in we saw this, really coming about. That's why if you go back and you look, we had little to no video 18 months ago. And it's slowly been starting to build because we've seen that that's the direction that social media is going. Like I shared with you earlier, back in 2006, 7, 8, a lot of times it was the ad commercials, it was the Sunday newspaper and stuff like that. And those things are still good, radio ads, marketing ads, and things like that, but they all cost money. You have a phone and you can video and sell and educate without having to say, hey, give us a call, it's $15 an ornamental grass, call us today. You're teaching them how to do it and you're selling to them subliminally. And so that's what our marketing strategy is across our entire business this year, is in pushing those services the time of year that they need to be done. And that's what I want to teach you guys, is how to do that month to month and when to target it. So if I was to take one specific ad, say it's on ornamental grasses, because that's what we're starting to do right now, or cleaning gutters, and I would take that ad and I would target and I would market certain demographics. And so if you're going to spend a little bit of money in marketing, you're better off to go into social media and to do that marketing, because you're going to be able to target, senior citizens, veterans. You're going to be able to, target higher end lake home by putting the price demographic. For me, I would put it 450,000 plus if I was trying to, market. If I was trying to market Lake Hamilton. And so those are things that you want to think about. And the one thing that a lot of people make the mistake on is they think that, okay, I make this one video, I put this one thing out, and I don't get to sell on it. Well, you got to think that it's those bings that I'm telling you about, is that 8 to 10 times that you've got to put yourself out there for a customer to make that purchase with you. Because one, you're trying to get the customer, not the customer that comes out and they talk to you and ask you about your yard. You're trying to get their neighbor's yard that you envy, that you don't know how to get in contact with. That's what the power of social media is going to allow you to be able to do. And you guys that are influencers and that have your channels, you know the power of SEO and the searchability of your name. Everything is helping you. It's helping you on every time you put an ad, and that I think me and Jeremiah, we talked about it when we did his live stream, how when you're making that ad that you click Hot Springs, Arkansas, or when I'm making that post, so that way I'm getting SEO of Hot Springs, lawn care, landscaping, etc., all for this ad. And so we'll talk a little bit about an ad that I ran. I don't know if we can pull it up on our Facebook page or business page, but we did an outdoor kitchen. And so here coming into fall, we just finished up a real big outdoor kitchen, guys. We were looking to try and land a few more for winter. We were talking about running some ads and things like that. And we didn't want to, sell too hard, but we did want to sell. And so what we did is we just put a post out on Facebook. And with this post, we put a picture of our outdoor kitchen. It was really nice. And I can't remember what we said, but it was something along the lines like, hey, football season's here. Can't wait to get out in the backyard, barbecues, doing some tailgating, like Woo Pig Suey. And so we weren't trying, so hard to push that sell. What we were trying to do is we were trying to hit the guys that were wanting, excited about football season, wanting to do stuff in their backyard, have those get-togethers. That's the heartstring that we were trying to pull with that ad. We put it out on our Facebook. I had it shared a couple times. I didn't pay for any of it. I just asked a few people, hey, do you mind sharing this, getting it out there? And we actually sold 2 outdoor kitchens off of it. One of them was like a $11,000 outdoor kitchen, and another one was an $8,000 outdoor kitchen. Both that we sold off of a simple post that we put out onto our Facebook page and asked people to share and to push that. Another one that we put up was a fire pit ad. It was just a couple different fire pits, and it was, hey, fall's here, those cool evenings, you want to be out there checking out, fire pits, or you want to be out there with your family enjoying, the weather. And that was all it was. We put it out there, had a few shares, and we ended up selling some fire pits off of it. We got some more opportunities. I didn't close the deal on those sales, but we did have a couple interests that came in on those. And so, guys, so this is just very simple what we did. It's a just in time for fall. You need a kitchen like this to help get together watching the Razorbacks this season, which was horrific. But this space has it all. Give us a call if you're looking to upgrade your outdoor living space. And that's all it was. We tagged Woo Pig Suey, Go Hogs Go, I don't know why, but this was the project. And that simple thing, I don't know, can you scroll down and see, to show us how many shares we had onto it? So we had 6 shares on it. We only had, it looks like 13 likes, but we had 1,100 engagements, and that sold 2 kitchens. It makes me wonder what the power of video would have done in that moment. And that was just with one time. I didn't push it anymore after that. And so you think about if you're going in here and you're pushing these to get those 6, 7, 8, 9 times out in front of somebody, the better success that you're going to have with that. And then I don't know if we can pull up the fire pit one. Oh, it's right there. I was selling hard that month. I put 2 back to back. We must have been slowing down. But right here, same thing. Just some clean, crisp pictures. I got a customer enjoying their fire pit that they sent to me. Another backyard, one out in front of True Value. And so it's just something simple like that, guys, that we put out there to push and sell. We do the same thing with our leaf removal. Guys out there blowing leaves. I made a post today. It was just, leaves are out in the yard. We're cleaning these up before they damage the lawn. And we're trying to educate, hey, clean your leaves up so you don't damage your lawn. Or we're trying to educate them on the ornamental grasses, so they're selling that. And you're going to see a lot more on our end as far as pushing our videos and then taking that content and breaking it into, not only picture form, but then video form, and then paying that $5 and $6 to boost them to a certain demographic where we'll change the text up just a little bit, for the Hot Springs Village where we're targeting senior citizens, that we're going to target that, like senior discount available now through whatever, give us a call. And so when we push and we boost that, we are trying to make the sell, but it's going to be with the same things that we're already pushing on social media that hopefully that they're seeing. And that's going to help us, with that sell. And we may even, in something like that, we would probably even follow it up with like a Sunday newspaper ad, just to get one more point of contact, because a lot of elderly get a Sunday paper. And so we're trying to follow up on that point right there. I want to get into a little bit of the engagements, get some questions, some feedback on that, and kind of get these guys, loosened up and get everything going. Have we had any comments come in yet? Everybody's just been sitting. We still sitting strong. We had a couple guys have to leave.
We had a few leave.
So, all right. All right.
I got one question. Ever thought about fridge magnets?
Have I thought of it?
Question.
Yeah, it was a comment from somebody wanting to know.
Right.
Oh, fridge magnets? I know that, like for me, I think that kind of the fridge magnet goes right in with like the sticker. I think it's, something that would do really well. Me personally, I haven't, but I think that like at trade shows and stuff like that, if you're gonna do like the home and garden show, or even have them to pass out, it may be something that they'll hold on to just a little bit longer, instead of just throwing it away or letting it, slide into a stack of mail or trash can. So I think that that's big. Something that we're looking at is designing a logo for a sticker, because our sticker's always been big. And so we're going to be doing a more simplistic for a sticker, and we'll probably follow it up. That's a good form. Let's write that down for a fridge magnet. So, but we have any other comments on there?
Is it okay to have shirts one color and sweatshirts and coats a different color?
Okay, that's good. See, I like variety, and so that's why you see guys back here. I was trying to show you what we actually wear when we're out working. I wanted something that people would wear all the time as well. But these were my colors, and so toss me that. These are our hoodies. It's following the same color scheme, and so what I chose on my hoodie, which is going to be a cover-up that we keep on most of the winter, I wanted you to associate that with our trucks. And so that's why I chose gray. It would stay cleaner than these other two shirts do, especially this one. So yeah, absolutely. I think that you can have a different color shirt and a different color hoodie, but you want that consistency. So as long as you get a brand color consistent, they'll still know you, especially if you keep your fonts the same. I wouldn't change your design on your shirt, front to back on your different colors. I keep it all the same.
Jose asked, how many shirts do you give your employees?
I give my employees one or two of each color. So they get enough to run 1 week, and they've got to wash laundry. And then if they don't show up wearing the right color shirt, previously, this last year was terrible. But starting again this year, if they don't wear the right color shirt, they'll be given one, and that's going to be payroll deducted. That's part of their employee guidelines that they have to sign and fill out. So they get 2 shirts of each color, enough to go the entire week in case we got to work Saturday. So 6 shirts total.
Where do you get them made at?
So I have a local print shop that I get my shirts made at. He did the design. That was part of the deal. And so it used to be Branded Ink, but I don't know what his name is now. He just joined up with a graphics guy, a wrap guy, and an embroidery people. So they all came together. They have like a powerhouse here now. But
do you charge for estimates on larger projects?
no, it's 100% free estimates. And so what I like to do, we'll get into that on some other stuff, but what I like to do is I like to give a price right then and there. And so I know a lot of stuff. Yesterday we were on the phone. We cold called a guy because we saw his retaining wall fell down. We called him up. We started talking to him about his wall. I already had numbers available, giving them to him. Same thing on a client. We'll use like Google Earth. If they call me about yard work, we'll pull it up. We base it off the square footage. I say, hey, that's going to run $65. What I'm trying to get is that bite. If they're interested in $65, then I'll go out there and do the estimate. But we've done like that $300,000 project. We went out there, we spent 6 hours on the job, measuring everything, laying it all out. We came back, we spent 3 days doing the design, went back, did a presentation, and that was all free in my hopes of landing that project. Now I figure it back into the project, and you just hope that you land more than you don't. But we do free estimates.
Okay, let's see here. Someone's asking about your employee handbook, wanting to know if you can email it.
I can, yes. I'll get you access to the employee handbook as well.
Okay, and then question, since I'm a solo operator for now, do you think it would be a good idea to put a back window sticker for an advertising on a truck? My truck is for work and personal. It's Hairston Property Management.
Yeah, see, so I run my personal truck. I bought it, had 7,000 miles on it. That was like closest thing to new that I've ever owned. I was like, I can't put a logo on the side yet. And so what I did is I put it on my back glass. So absolutely, I think that you should. I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I just feel like magnets kind of say that you do this part-time. And you're going to be somebody's second point of contact when they're looking for somebody if you have magnets versus a decal. So the decal says, I do this full-time. I'm a professional. This is what I'm doing. And, I believe that wholeheartedly. So it's part of that professional persona that you're trying to get. Put it on the back glass, and then once you get a few dings and scratches or go full time, put the logo up there as best you can, because that is a moving billboard. I had 15 trucks and trailers on the road last year. That was that many billboards. That's one reason why I don't pay on billboard, is because I feel like those things are getting my name out there way more than anything else.
Okay, so KP Landscaping, so everyone you have seen when you started, you just handed out a business card. So I guess, so everyone you seen when you started, you just handed out a business card. is the
Okay.
question.
So, like I was sharing with you guys earlier, I know I was chasing some stuff really fast, and so that's why I'm glad we had this time to kind of slow things down and break it down. And so early on, I had 17 clients, and when I changed my business name, I printed off like 100 flyers. They were just single sheets of paper, and I went door to door, and I met a point of contact of an older gentleman. He's the first house I went to. I gave him a flyer. He basically said he wasn't interested. His grandson did it, and I went down the road. And as I went down the street, I was hitting doors. Nobody was home. No soliciting on their doors. I just kept, miss, and then I finally had a guy yell at me from the street over, and we came up to him. We sold him, got his property, and he was actually very much involved in a POA, HOA, and when we landed him, he gave us a point of contact to the president, or to the guy in charge of the POA, which just happened to be the son of the older gentleman's door I went to first. And he ended up giving his son my flyer, telling him, hey, if you ever need anybody, or if, your son can't do it, here's a guy, And so I had those 2 points of contact. I ended up landing his yard, ended up landing the 24 home POA. And then I had a couple other, ended up that afternoon going down the street, hitting another road, and landing a couple more houses. And so I ended up with those flyers. I think I had like the Walmart peel, or the peel and tear business cards that I printed out. And so that would be my card I would give to them once I made point of contact in person. And then I was giving them a flyer on their door. But like I said, that was an anomaly, landing 27 my first day out. And so that's why now when we go out and we do things, we've passed out hundreds, and we figured out, that's why I shared with you guys about the clover leafing and then doing it on Saturday, because we realized how to increase our opportunity of success.
How do you figure out what to charge per yard?
So we're going to get into that on lawn maintenance a lot, but I'm going to share with you guys. What we do is we charge per 100 square foot. So we charge like 27 cents per 100 square foot. And so what we've done is we've taken our base $45 property, and we've broke that down to what it comes out to per 100 square foot. And then that's how we, price it out. And that allows me to be able to give an estimate before I ever actually step foot on the customer's property. I'll pull it up on Google Earth, measure the lot size, we'll measure it out. And then I'll look at the street view, make sure there's no crazy hills, something I got to push mow that I can tell. And I'll just tell them, hey, it's going to be around $45. I'm not going to know until I come out and look at it. And that's how we sell it. But it used to be look at it, try to guess this and that. I actually called guys to come and mow, like my grandparents' yard and stuff like that, trying to figure out, rates. And then once after, a couple years and I figured out the rates, I just created a math behind it to break it down. So now any of my guys can bid it, my supervisors, etc.
How early should we start advertising door to door? My season starts late March, April, but I really want to hit it hard.
The best time, right now, you need to be doing your legwork. You need to be putting stuff out on social media. You need to be being out there, going door to door, at least on leaf cleanups. Get you some flyers made up if you see leaves in the yard. Going and putting those out. If you do have some client's yard, if you've got to get a permit, get your sign out there. You want those, you don't want to be sitting at home with your truck, your best form of advertisement, and just waiting on those calls to come in. So you need to go do some things that are going to put you out in front of people. I remember I used to just hook up to my trailer and go drive around when I was trying to do stuff, because I knew that the trailer would catch the eye, that I was trying to, that I was landing business or I was doing something, and then I had that much better opportunity to land work.
Wondering if I could do early bird special by advertising a huge discount for paying for an entire year beforehand. Lawn spraying.
We offer a 7% discount for prepaid. So coming up at the end of this month, we have a handful of clients that are going to be paying us 1 year in advance, the entire year services, and we offer a 7% discount. I'm probably going to go down to 5 just because I'm leaving money on the table, and they're going to do it, one, because they don't want to deal with the check month to month, and two, because I mean, they're just gonna pay it. They want that convenience. So I don't know what I was about to say too, but but yeah, I'm gonna do 5%. I'm gonna go from 7 to 5 this year. We're going up on a lot of our rates.
Can we see an example of your employee guideline sheet?
I have it pulled up, but it makes the light kind of rough.
You do have it pulled up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me get it up here for.
And guys, I've got a ton of documents and packets. I mean, as we go through, this can absolutely be a part of tonight's package.
This is the old
It's not
one.
something that I thought of. This one's back in 2016.
Let me see if I can find a new one.
so-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if not, you may check my bag. I have my flash drives with me. But yeah, guys, it's just it starts out with attendance and goes through that, but we'll get you some guys access to that.
You can apologize on my part for not having it.
So
Let me look.
Do you want to go on?
yeah, we can keep
Okay.
going. If there's something that you guys, I didn't answer specifically, comment again, and we'll come back to it.
Do you offer a credit card or debit card on file? How do most of your clients pay?
All right, most of my clients are going to pay by check. We do have a handful that pay by PayPal, and then we have Square here. But we're going very much towards QuickBooks this next year, and so what we're going to do is we're going to add $2, like $3 per $100 to our clients' contracts, so that way we can just bill them through our QuickBooks and just pay it in that fee. And they can pay online. I think I'm not sure if they can put a card on file, but I know that they can pay online. They can't put a card on file? Okay. So they can put a card on file with QuickBooks, and that's going to be the way that we go this year.
You have to have a legal form signed by the client on
Okay.
file.
Okay. So Kevin's actually doing this. He says that you have to have a legal form signed by the client, giving you permission to keep it on file, and then you have to have a safe place that you keep those, so like a safe lockbox to keep that.
I do know that's Arkansas law. I
Okay.
don't know about
That's
other
Arkansas. So
states. Talk about bidding a house for a 12-month contract, and what would you include doing? Bush trimming, fertilizing, mulch, fall and spring cleanup, and mowing.
okay, so as we get into like our 12-month contracts, this is another document, guys, that I have available for you. Is our 12-month contracts. Let me know if you're interested in that. And so what I do on any sale, whether if I go to a landscape sale, as I come up to that landscape sale, I am bidding the yard already. And so I take my door hanger and I fill out the price. And so on my door hanger, it has a list of all my other services. And on that, you're going to see, trimming bushes, fertilized weed control, remulching flower beds, etc. And so I'm already going to be giving them a price per trip. And then I'll usually say, hey, this yard's on this side of town. It meets my 10-day schedule. You'll get a 10% discount. And I'll circle what I recommend as the route, and I'll give that to them. But on our 12-month contracts, you want to try to sell on an upsell of all services, and so you're capitalizing on where you're already at, so that talks about more about your route density and where you're going to be. And so what you'll do is you will actually go in and you'll sell that client on their yard, giving them already the price of trimming the bushes, 3 times a year or 1 time a month, cleaning their gutters, if you do sprinkler adjustments, which I highly recommend, I'll teach you in a video, is doing irrigation, and then fertilization, weed control, cleaning roof and gutters, etc. That's all things that I'll break down, and I give them one package, and I levelize that bill out for 12 months.
I want to skip Chris's question.
Chris's?
Yeah.
What?
Kevin, why use the baby rig?
Nobody knows, Chris. I bought 2 for my kids.
and so on. What software do you use for your business? CRM.
Okay, so the software that I use for my business, my first 60 clients was all in my head. I didn't have anything. I was writing stuff on a notebook. As I started getting into it, my first 150 I did on Word. It was a nightmare. After I hit about that 150 mark and I was going to my annual contracts for the first time is when I got into QuickBooks. And so as soon as I got into QuickBooks, this made life super easy. I've tried things like Service Autopilot, Arbor Gold, stuff like that, and they're just super expensive. So what I found a way to do is to simplify that without paying that monthly rate by using things like Excel and Word documents, Google Docs, and building my business off of that, and just paying the $60 a month for QuickBooks, because me and my supervisors and my foreman could all have access to it, where we could real-time bill, and that way we could do real-time estimates. We can go in and bid a $100,000 job in just a few minutes. And so our main form is QuickBooks for all of our business. And we spent a lot of time building those, those sheets within QuickBooks to make everything quick and efficient. But then everything else, guys, is free documents. Like I said, I've got a lot of templates that are made up that that I'll give you access to, and that stuff. I've already sent a lot of you guys my contracts, but they're all Word documents. An Excel file. My schedules that we route all of our lawn maintenance off of is an Excel sheet. And on that Excel sheet, what you have is you have a list that has the customer name, the customer's address, and the amount that they are paying per month. In the next column, you're going to have a list of what type of contract they have. We break it down from basic, mid, and unlimited. This is basic, means we just mow, weed eat, edge, and blow. Mid means that we trim your bushes 3 times a year. And then unlimited means that we take care of things like trimming your bushes every month. Cleaning the gutters, flower beds, remulching, irrigation, fertilization, weed control. And then we do a calendar, Monday through Saturday. On that calendar, we mark the day that we're supposed to do it. And then my guys will fill that in, and then they'll go over. And then there's a note column beyond that where my guys can actually fill out how long they were at a property, and then any notes or schedule additional services that the customer wants done next time. And then my foreman takes that sheet, or my supervisor takes that sheet at the end of each day, compiles it, puts it into the computer, and it's ready to go the next time we pull it up to print.
Do you take prepayment before service or payment after service?
We bill after because we do a ton of upsells monthly. So most of our contracts, our customers are having us do something additional on a monthly basis. So at the end of the month, we bill out on the 1st, and most of our payments come in by the 15th.
Do you keep up with mileage?
We have a service log for all of our trucks and equipment, and so that's where we track hour meters for servicing our equipment, and that's where we will keep up with the mileage on a truck. But we know the mileage of all of our routes because that's how they're designed. If any of you saw my other video, we took our town and it's got streets that are coming off of it, and we have put each of those streets, main roads, as a schedule. And so we know what each of those are from point of our shop to the apex of the schedule and back to the shop, what round trip is mileage wise.
Do you have a bidding sheet as well?
A bidding sheet for what? For lawn maintenance? Lawn maintenance, I stick to my door hanger and my contract. I do have like a quick bid sheet which shows I try to break it down to check boxes, so that way my guys don't have to handwrite because some of their may not be legible. So we did check boxes. That's all in a file that I'll get you guys access to. But it's a quick bid sheet. So if somebody comes up, my guys are already trained in how to bid the sheet or to bid the property, and they just check it, fill in the prices, and then turn it over to them.
Do you use bulk mulch or bags, or does it depend on the size of the job?
Very seldom do we use bags. I've got landscape bins where we order it in and we use it, and then that way if we don't use it all on a job, we dump it into those bins and save it for the next project.
What did you do before you had been?
before I had bins, we just go pick it up for the project. So we would go to the landscape shop, get it, and then usually I was wasting it or thickening the beds up, just like piling them in, trying to get rid of it. And so, you know, now in my bid sheet, it'll break it down, our math, to how you do it per square foot and bid. Bags, you can make it go way further. That stuff is compressed, and when you pull it out of that bag, it's fluffed, and so you're able to go thinner with it, and you go way further with 10 bags than you can a yard of mulch, which is crazy, but you just spread it thinner. And so, but I don't like dealing with bags unless it's hard to get to. But I've even used planters, like big 25-gallon planters. We'll put mulch in and take them out to the job and use those instead of having to wheelbarrow it, just as we would bags of mulch. So, but, all right, guys.
We'll track the comment.
Do what?
So we'll keep track of the comment.
Okay. Where are we at on time, guys?
7:18.
7:18. All right, good. So, good deal. All right, guys. So I want to talk, get a little bit of interaction with you guys. What have you seen in the comments over here? Have you seen for marketing to clients? What have you done the most, and what has been the most? I want to see what has been the most effective way of marketing for you guys, and I'd like to take somebody and kind of break that down for them. So in here, guys, I talked about what your customer acquisition cost is, and then how to target market. I think we talked a lot about target marketing specific demographics. For me, I'm trying to get lake houses, and that's what I'm trying to target. And because that's the higher end clients that are going to not only pay for fertilization, weed control, they typically have irrigation and stuff like that. So when I go in and target that area, I try to focus a lot of my stuff around the lake.
I have Google My Business from one and Facebook.
Do I know?
Didn't you ask them what they use to advertise?
Oh, okay. Yeah, somebody said Google. Somebody said Google.
Yep.
Okay. The neat thing about getting into YouTube and all these forms of social media is that you realize how SEO is working, and how the searchability of my company name, It's His Turf, works. And so you start to see that the more that I tag it in my post on Instagram, in the videos, my videos get viewed and everything gets shared, how the searchability of my name, of my company, starts to grow. And so that's something that you want to do, is you're creating a brand and a name for yourself that's making it more searchable, to your potential customer. And for me, I'm trying to tag that, with lawn care, landscaping, etc. I'll take Kevin and we'll break him down for a second. On his SEO, he is very highly searchable for lawn care. I mean, super highly searchable. And you look at his website, he's doing a great job on his website. But then also he has the backing of his channel. We joke about it. He's actually started using a tag of It's His Turf, and he has a higher SEO for It's His Turf because of his interactions that he's had on his channel. And so that's pretty funny. If you go in sometimes and you search It's His Turf, you're gonna see some of Kevin's stuff just because he's started sharing and tagging us in it. But that's just the way that it works. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to create that brand for yourself to put yourself out in front of the customer. Dustin
uses EDDM postcards, so every door direct mailers.
Okay.
I think that's the way he uses advertising.
Dustin, do you mail those out or are you handing them out?
I think
So
so.
I know those are mailers to the but sometimes people say that and they mean that they're just hitting every door in a subdivision.
I got you.
And so,
what are your thoughts on every door direct mailers?
I've done it once, and like I said, I had like a 0.5% return on it, and then I paid guys to go pass out 300, and I had 0% return on those 300. And so those were 2 times that had very bad taste in my mouth, and that's why I decided that I needed to be the boots on the ground, that I was the face of my company, and that if I was going to sell and market, and I was going to take myself out of the field, that I had to do a very good job. I couldn't rely on a card or this or that. I had to go put myself in front of the people to make that sell. because I don't want to sound like a vacuum salesman, but when you're going and making those sales with people, it's a psychology. You're playing a game. You're looking to see if they're wearing a cross on their necklace. Okay, hey, he's religious. We have that in common. I can make that connection. Not to say that I'm using my religion as this. Or, hey, he's got a deer head hanging up in his house. I deer hunt, we're going to have this connection. Or he's wearing, an athletic team's hat. He likes sports, so do I. And you find that casual conversation to start to have with that customer to make that connection. Because once you make that connection, you can, more times than not, close that sale. And so for me, I went away from not having my face out there and just throwing money, trying to, get lucky and have one. I took myself out of the field, put myself into pushing my business. And when I started going door to door, especially when my crews were in an area, this was a good thing. When my crews were in an area working, if I would show up and go in the neighborhood, hey, my guys are just down the road. We're looking to expand in this neighborhood. Here's a price for your lawn. I was landing a lot, and we would pick up subdivisions where we would have, 40, 50% of that subdivision just from doing that. And then we follow it all up with door hangers and repetition. If I hit it once in March, I wouldn't be hesitant to go door to door, come June when everything's getting hot, because you never know when that customer's going to get tired of mowing their yard or their guy's going to slip up, and then they're going to think about you again.
How important do you think Instagram is? I've found with Instagram, I get mostly followers from other lawn care community and not locally.
I agree. Your followers, yes. But if you go back, I don't know, it's been months ago, but if you were to go back and search on Instagram, Lake Hamilton, back in, say, June, Lake Hamilton, which is the lake I'm trying to target, I was like 4 of their 9 pictures on their grid. So I had that when people were in town tagging Lake Hamilton and searching Lake Hamilton, they were now picking up images that I was posting out on social media. And so that's what you want to be looking for. You're trying to get that customer there, that subliminal sell. They see you when they're posting that, and go from there. And I'd post pictures of my waterfalls or even us out on the lake, stuff like that. And it was our company name putting it out there. We good on comments? All right.
Yeah, the last thing was KP Landscaping. He was saying his advertisement went door to door, Facebook, Google Plus, Instagram, YouTube. So just kind of confirming all the.
Okay. All right. Awesome, guys. All right. So what I want to get into, we have some time tonight, so I want to start to kind of dig into the next steps in growing your company. And what we want to do with that is, like, for me and my company, I started out as lawn care. And so as we started to get into landscaping, I was dabbling with things. We lost a lot of money. That's what the big thing is about all these bid sheets. I have a huge folder that's got a ton of bids broken down by an equation, that we're able to get. I'll be able to give you access to as we go through those parts of the course. But the big thing on lawn maintenance and getting yourself established, guys, is that as you're out there pushing it, you're not just pushing this one service, hey, getting your yard mowed. By taking and applying what we have and selling the upsell of these additional services, just like Kevin has started to do with his 4 annual contracts that we've picked up in just the last month, they are all what we call unlimited contract, meaning that they are covering all sales. So he has capitalized on all of those upsells right away. And so he has that extra 20% of margin into his monthly and annual revenue that it took me years to gain. And so don't go into this thinking that, hey, I want to start out and just land lawns and do this. You want to look at educating yourself and putting, and doing those upsells so that you can capitalize on that 20% right now and not be sitting a year from now, trying to gain that.
What is the best way to get into ponds and how to market it?
Ponds and waterfalls?
Just said ponds.
So, shameless plug. It's Stonemakers, guys. So I did my first waterfalls and stuff. They were all rock. I've gone in and redone almost all of them. Honestly, I have. And I did a lot of pondless waterfalls. We're around the lakes. There's a lot of mosquitoes, stuff like that. We would do pondless waterfalls. But I when I first got into it, I did a bunch of research on YouTube. A ton of aquascape stuff. Researching that, and in just what I've learned in the last 24 months has even transferred that and made it so much easier. But I would aquascapes. They do have a great class. Talking about ponds and teaching you how to do that. Stonemakers has a great class as well, teaching you how to do ponds. And there's a ton of free stuff out there. But my parents' house, that waterfall I showed you, that was a trial and error. I was getting out there, trying something new. I wanted to not do it at a customer's house, so I did it. My very first waterfall, watched a ton of YouTube on it, and then I went to do it for the customer. I told them, I gave them a discounted rate. We did it. I went back 3 years later and I changed some stuff that I should have done better. I just didn't know. And so, and now the customer spends thousands of dollars with me every year, just adding a little bit. But that little bit went a long way just for me changing a few things that I missed on the front end. But, find you a guinea pig, be honest with the customer, somebody will take a chance on you. Or come here and get trained and certified either with us or with, Aquascapes, so that you go into it with that confidence and that project to back you with it.
Going to a bigger town nearby, is it wise to go to a town nearby? 1,400 people per square mile versus 162 per square mile.
You're talking about move, relocate, or just go there to work? Because, depending on how close it is, I drive 55 miles for one schedule. And so, if the money's there and the schedule's there and I can do it, I'm going. It does stink because I have guys that are out of town, for that day. But I will go. This past year, I've been trying to get everything more condensed, and that's going to be my goal with my downsize. Is I'm trying not to let customers go, but the ones that I do let go are the ones that are out of town. I let a few go that were 25 miles. For 2 of them, I let them go. But like I said, I live right on the edge. We have 50,000 people here. 40, 50,000, and I think that you're a lot better off, higher population, because it means more dense of a route, higher margins, more yards you get done.
How big of a discount did you give on your first project? I have a customer that I believe I can sell a big landscape job, but it would be my first.
That's where I would look at either 1, teaming up with another company, or 2, being educated. And it depends on to what scale you're talking landscaping. If you're getting into plants, plantings, walkways, whatever it is, each project is so intricate in itself. I think that we probably need to talk on the phone, break that one down, so I can really help you, kind of decide the direction to go with that.
Can you?
I would say it's case sensitive. I don't want to put a number out there and you say, hey, knock it down 50%. That's too risky. We need to talk on the phone.
You said it sounds good.
Can you share more info on shadowing your business in February? What can we expect?
Okay. All right. So shadowing my business in February, what you're going to do is you're going to come in and we're going to talk more focus on taking your business and showing you how I took my business with my third employee, which is now my supervisor, which is my right-hand man, that's been with me 8 years now. And so what I did was poured into him from day one. As people come into your business, that you need to be pouring into them, teaching them, educating them, investing in them. And so we're going to be looking at that firsthand, and then talking about how you go from being a solo op or being, a business owner running the crew, and get into that, how you get your first guy running his crew, which was my supervisor. Took my first independent crew and he was running it. As I started to grow my second crew, and then as I grew my second crew, I found a good foreman. And then as I found that good foreman, my supervisor now managed both of those crews. And then I started growing irrigation. I taught him irrigation. So as he was supervising those crews, he started managing the irrigation part of the business. Then we started growing landscape team. I was the landscape foreman, supervisor, boss, you name it, and I was investing in that crew. And once I got them sharpened, I was getting into hardscape and so on and so forth. And so to get your business to that level and to get the quality where you need it to be and get your guys where you need it to be, you're going to have to immerse yourself into it and do the grind and do the work for a short time so that you can train and mold them. I don't think that you can do it from a desk. And so you're going to get to see that firsthand, how I've taken and built that. And I put a guy into a supervisor position. I put a guy into the office handling those things. And I put myself into the field. And now I'm blessed with the opportunity that I can do whatever I want to do for the day because I have teams and guys that are operating and executing that I can count on. But it's going to be through those steps, and it's hard to sit here in a video and to show you, one, how we've done that, two, the responsibility that these guys take and have for themselves, and then three, how to build that team atmosphere without experiencing that atmosphere for yourself.
Will you be offering the shadowing program in the summer months?
I would love to. I just thought that it was a far chance for somebody to leave their business and to come here. I would absolutely love to. If we have a good turnout in February and guys want to come later on, the whole point of the playbook initially was to get guys coming in here and seeing it firsthand. With that, I had hundreds of people reaching out saying, I can't leave. And that's what sparked tonight and putting this into video form. A lot of what you and I are talking about right now as these guys get these courses, they're only going to get it on where we turned off at marketing and probably get a little bit more into direct targeting ads, and that thing. And so they're not going to get a lot of this interaction right here. But I'd be very much interested in making that something if we have guys that are interested. So just, that's something just to reach out to me and tell me that you're interested, and we'll start building a class, on those months. Because next month we have our Stonemakers class. That'll be our focus. In February we have the playbook. And then we're developing, which is like for our employees, taking our employees, starting them out at say $10 an hour or $20,000 a year salary, and then showing them how if they educate themselves and they train themselves by testing out and learning our business inside and out, on their own time, how they can see those pay raises all the way from $20,000 up to $50,000 a year. And so now these guys know that it's a career opportunity and not just a summer job.
Someone was asking how much the shadowing costs.
So to come here and to go through it, we do it 3 to 5 days. Like I said, guys, I'm gonna try my best to, give you as much information. I know that there's only a small percentage of you that are gonna apply this. So the 3-day is $500 to come here to go through that. And then we offer for $300 doing marketing ads for your company, developing those, doing a testimonial for you to go out and put onto your social media of your company to give to your clients, and then to come up with a strategy of what your ideal client is that you're trying to target. Like I told you guys, I'm targeting the retirement community, and I am targeting the lakefront houses. And so those are my two very specific demographics that I am targeting, and that's what I'm building my business model off of. And I would say that 90% of my, 400 lawn maintenance clients fit that demographic. And so 500 for the 3-day, and then if you choose to stay the 2 extra days and to go through our whole marketing, that is an additional 300.
Daniel just said he's more able to come in the summer compared to the winters. That's what I was asking. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll make it work. I mean, we've had, one guy come, just give us a call, shoot me a text, or, a message, and let's get together on that. We'll make something happen. A lot of that also, Drew and Mark and Kevin and these other guys that are coming here have got to see is just by being out in the field, seeing the crews working, getting to ride around in the truck, see that real-time bidding, see the handling of the clients on the phone, juggling these things, just how the company's operating. By looking at it, you're able to, start to see how you can fit this into your company versus just watching a video or talking to me here.
Lamont said thank you
So.
for taking your time out to do this.
Absolutely, Lamont, man. I appreciate you, brother. So I hope that you can find some time to get down here. We were talking, and I'd love to help you get that, to that next level and reach that goal that you're trying to reach.
Do you sub out any of your work?
So I do, and so one part of as we develop these and put these out is going to be on contracting. Contracting has been very great for my company, and on the flip side, it's been detrimental. I had one project last year, guys, that I lost $36,000 on. I had a pool contractor walk away from me. I had an electrician. I had a plumber. I had another pool guy walk away from me, a tile guy. And so I had to finish the tile, finish the plumbing, finish the electrical, all things I had to learn to do and to finish these jobs that ended up costing me. And unfortunately, I knew this about 7 months before I finished the project, that it was my name, it was my reputation, and I had to go that extra mile to get that done, and I know that it's going to pay off. And so, like I said, contracting when done right, we don't do anything without a signature. I don't care who they are anymore. We let a lot of contractors go. But there was a time when I was subbing contract work out that I was making anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month just on my contracting. So it can be a huge part of your business when done right. But I've had some things that have bit me, and that's the whole point of all this, guys, is to be able to share that with you, show you our contracts that we use, with these guys to cover ourselves and to hold them reliable, when to pay, how to pay out draws, for these guys, and stuff like that. And so, one thing that we do sub a lot of is our fertilization weed control. That is subbed out. Just because I've got my license, I let it expire. I don't personally have time to invest in that, and I haven't found somebody that has a passion for it. You'll find in building your company that you find guys and what they're passionate for, and you figure out how to capitalize on that and make money with it. And so you don't put a guy out that's passionate about running a heavy equipment and put him on a weed eater all day. You put him out there, setting up jobs, moving gravel, moving dirt, doing that, and you get him where he loves what he's doing. It doesn't mean every day he loves what he's doing, but you get him doing that the majority of the time. And then that's when you start to get those guys that are, stay with you long time, like 8, 5, 3 years. That's a long time in this. The two major things that I've heard from talking to guys, I've probably got 60 guys that I talk to on a regular basis. And the two major things that everybody says is employee turnover and sales. Those are the two things that they have a problem with. And either one, it's not being comfortable in selling a job. And the reason you're not comfortable in selling a job is because you haven't educated yourself. I know that I've donated my time to going to nurseries. I spent one summer when I was learning landscaping. I would go to the nursery and I would ride around for free asking, the guy on the yard, questions about plants. I was making a list of what customers were using a lot of and buying a lot of. And I would read the tags and I would load their cars. And that's what I did for an entire summer when I wasn't working doing my yards. I would get off, I'd go over there, I'd hang out, I'd let the owner pour into me. And that's how I started into real landscape and design. And so, it's you've got to educate yourself so that you're confident in your sales. And then, like I said, you need to figure out what your guys love and put them where they need to be so that they can excel.
Jose had a two-part question. Your clients don't tell you anything about subbing fertilization and weed control, and how much higher do you big fertilizer and weed control your prices? Bid.
All right, so my customers know that there's another company coming in. It is part of their contract, though. I just tell them, hey, my buddy so-and-so, he'll be out here doing the fertilization weed control, and they know that. And then what I do is they pay me and I mark it up. We've had some trouble with that because we're only collecting. So by state law in Arkansas, we have to leave an invoice on the door. And so the customers that we leave an invoice on the door for, and we're not following up with a monthly bill, we have to chase that money. Whereas the people that are on the monthly contract, that is just part of their package, we have that coming in every month and we're able to cut that check. And so it's one reason why I push you to be on the annual contract, to just fit them in there. And what I'll do is we mark it up a minimum of $10. So our guy has a base price of $35 that he comes in to spray smaller properties. We turn around and we mark it up to $45. And then from that, we just do a percentage. And so We do a $10, and then after we hit that, we usually mark it up another 10%.
So it doesn't bother your clients to look like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just tell them the worst thing that can happen is you not be honest with a customer and then them have to confront you about it. So I think that if you just give that knowledge out on the front end, that you'll be fine. Just tell them, hey, I don't do it, but I have a guy that does. Here's this company, they're reputable. Here are their referrals, and you'll be fine.
So do you believe in buying a piece of equipment for more future use now, if you're able to, such as like a dump truck or a dump trailer?
No, because I think that having that cash, sitting back is going to, be better for you. I would not go out and buy something unless it was just a great deal, and then I would make that purchase and then hold on to it. But for me, you never know what's going to happen. You never know when things are going to change. So I would just set your business model up that when you need the dump truck, that you have that set aside. Unless you were saving, you're about to get a truck with 7,000 miles for half the price, then you got to do it. But I mean, that's case sensitive. But no, if it's more than 6 months down the road, I'm not making a purchase and putting my money out on the line for something that I may change my mind about doing. So. Got anything else? Anybody else rolling? So. I'll run as long as you guys want, and I'll talk about anything that you guys want to talk about. I'll be careful on that. You gotta do this long care bod workout. We got any more water?
Yeah,
Just some. Whose spit do you want?
my throat's only a little sore. You gotta go refill it.
So, we got anything else rolling in?
Not at the moment.
So,
There you go.
let's go on.
Do you do neighborhood pricing?
So yes, we do neighborhood pricing. So I wanted to get into this retirement community, and so it wasn't under a POA or anything like that. So I went into the neighborhood and I wanted to target and I wanted to market the entire neighborhood. And so I found out that there was a guy in the area charging $40 a service. And what I did is I started and I bid those at $90 a month, but hitting them 3 times. So if they went on a 12-month contract, they were saving $10 a service. And when we first did that, we picked up like 15 yards. And then we saw that started, as people passed away or moved, that started to drop, and I didn't market it as hard in that area, and we ended up losing the neighborhood. But I think that if we would have just continuously kept to push that, and I wouldn't have got complacent with the 15 when there was 40 houses in there, that we really could have kept that and built it up. But I was chasing swimming pools and everything else as that was happening, but it really paid off.
What are some of the reasons customers may have dropped your services in the past?
So we're very lucky. We have very low turnover. The biggest complaint that we get is initially trying to put them on a schedule. So what we tried to do this past year is we tried to have a one set crew that would go out and they would do all new properties. And so they would go out, they would do that new property, and then after that they would get put onto a schedule. And so initially we would have people really frustrated with, hey, I didn't get my bill, or hey, your guys didn't show up. And that was just because they hadn't been put into the routine and the route that my guys were doing. But once we implemented that, it really helped us. Dropping our services early on, when we were growing, we didn't have a crew focused on taking care of the property, like the trimming. So there was a mass confusion between what was mid-grade and what was unlimited. And so those customers would have to call us about their shrubs, and they felt like they were getting frustrated with that. And so I solved that by getting my supervisor to full-time supervisor, where he could check up on the properties. And he's doing services like going in, treating the bushes, adjusting sprinkler heads, doing the monthly checkups on those. And so that way that really helps. And then he helps on the bigger jobs of the day. But once I put a supervisor in the field, and then I started pushing more of my clients towards the unlimited, or if they wouldn't pay for it, I honestly took my mid-grade contracts and I had my guys trimming monthly. And then that was fine. Everything after that just kept them rolling. I've had a lot of customers move away and pass away, but I would say number one was just like that, not doing those additional services outside of mowing the lawn before we kind of figured out that process.
Do you feel it's better to rent equipment at first, and when you see the more requests for that service, to purchase?
Let's be more specific. Are we talking about like an excavator or a skid steer? I rented an excavator for years. I would either, and actually, I say rent. I've found that if you find you another contractor to work with, that's usually like a solo op or something, that you can have him come out and do the service cheaper than you can go out and pick the machine up. And so I recommend you just find you another contractor to work with that can come out and do that project. My brother-in-law had an excavator, and for years I rented him out. I I subbed him out. He would show up, $250, knock it out, and I was. He's not gonna appreciate that. I said I rented him out, and that he would knock out that service for me, and it would save me $50 to $100. Same thing with skid steer. I ended up buying my skid steer, and then finally this past year I actually did a big rental. I spent like $8,000 in 17 on an excavator, and I decided that's way too much money. And so that's when I found my Yanmar. I did a rental on it, and I was able to take that rental, and I asked the guy. I said, "Hey, can I put this rental towards the purchase price of the machine?" Because it was like a 16 model. It had 5 hours on it when I got it on that job, and we put like 100 hours on it in that month that I rented it. He said, "Absolutely." We bought it. We got like $6,000 off, and it was out of the rental fleet. And so I ended up getting 6,000 off, 2,000 put towards it. So I had $8,000 off of it towards the purchase. But it took me until 2017 to purchase my Yanmar, and that allowed me to take my waterfalls and my hardscapes to a way bigger level, because I wasn't limited to the man labor in digging or in having to go get a machine. And then as far as like my mini skid steer, that has been my best purchase. I did the same exact thing I did on my Yanmar. I did a month rental, and then I decided it was for me because I lined up the work for 30 days worth of work. I rented it, and I made sure that deal was made before I purchased it. And they said, yes, if you want to purchase it at the end of this 30 days, we'll put that rental towards it. And so that's what I did, and ended up making the purchase on that machine as well. I did the same exact thing on my Bobcat. I lined up the work. I actually, in July of this past year, 2018, I lined the work up. I had just done a demo. Finished that demo. I decided to purchase my Bobcat. My first month that I owned my Bobcat, we profited. This is profit, not net. We profited. This is profit net, not gross. $55,000. So after all my material, everything, I was able to do that with that machine, and that helped us a lot towards everything else that was going on. But I had that work lined up, and that's when I took the leap.
How do you keep track of voicemails and missed calls from new clients? What do you do to be sure you call them back?
A lot of it's going to be help and delegation. I have my supervisor, which he is, handling phone calls. I have everything. When he doesn't pick up, it forwards to my personal cell phone. The reason I got a personal cell phone is because just that depression. I was in a deep depression a few years ago because I was getting hundreds of phone calls a day and I had no disconnection. And that's when I hired my office manager to come in so he could handle them. And then when we juggle them between the three of us, that we're able to stay on top of it really well. And we just have a system. We don't delete the voicemail until that job has been executed on. So that voicemail sits there. And we just make sure that we're following up on it. Text messages, they all come in through the app. They're all on there. And we just try our best. The great thing about having a supervisor, once you get up over 4 guys, is that your supervisor can usually execute on things right away. That means same day going and doing the estimate. That means same day going and taking care of a warranty call. Same day of going and taking care of a disgruntled client, and just keeps everything going a lot smoother. Because my supervisor does a phenomenal job. A call comes in, he's out and executing on it. I usually can't figure out how he made it to the job and got back already, and he already has it taken care of, because I would have still been over there talking to him.
Is your business debt free?
No, 2 years ago my business was debt free. I was 100% debt free. My grandmother, little backstory, my grandmother left me her house when she passed away. And so for 6 years, I was able to put everything back into the business. At that time, I was working out of a 20 by 22 or a 30 by 22 shed or a carport and a 12 by 22 shed. And I had 8 crews and trucks all based out of my house. I was using my dining room as my office. And my wife and I, we started to have kids. And we said, since my grandma left me the house, that we were going to build a house once we started to have kids. So that way my brothers and sisters could have the same blessing we had and not having that, monthly rent or house payment, as they're going through that transition in life. And so we decided to purchase some land. I purchased 40 acres and we built our home. And that was, I know that's personal debt, but in that I decided to move my business. I needed a place now that it wasn't in my carport and I didn't want to take it to my new home. And so I built a 6,000 square foot shop on my 40 acres. And so my business accrued that 40 acres and the 6,000 square foot shop. And that was the only 2 payments that I had in that. And then as I started to grow my company this past year, that's when we bought, like I said, my Yanmar, my Ditch Witch. We ended up buying another Navigator, Exmark Navigator. I bought a big dump truck and then my Bobcat. So now we have 2 trucks that we're paying monthly on, and 3 big pieces of equipment and a mower, and then the shop. So no, it's not debt free. I want to encourage you guys to stay that way, because if I would have stayed at 4 guys, or say 4 guys and a supervisor, I could have been profiting anywhere from $2,700 to $3,500 a week. That's after all that was paid for, and I could have had little overhead and headache, and that's the goal of what I'm pushing Kevin towards and growing his business, is to get to that 4 employee, put a guy in supervisor, teach him that, and then for Kevin to be able to capitalize on things like his hardscapes, doing his grading, driveways, etc., the specialty stuff that he has a passion for. So when you do that, you can do it on a lot smaller scale, and like I said, the margins were way higher. I just got lost in the race, guys. And that's now why I'm trying to bring it back, and I want to keep you guys from getting there as well. So
Do you contract with the city or county entities, graveyards, etc.?
I have I have actually declined those contract before with the city and getting that one. And picking up all the parks and the medians and roadways and stuff like that, just from a horror story I heard from another contractor. I decided that at this point in time it wasn't best for my company. And then just to the amount of weed eating and everything around the tombstones, we have decided not to do graveyards. Our niche honestly is residential and focus on tight knit neighborhoods and POAs. So we try for POAs and condos, and that's how we're trying to focus our entire, business around.
How well do you like the Exmark Navigator? I had a chance to buy an old one for $800, but didn't do it.
Ooh, can I buy it? I wanna buy that Exmark Navigator. Okay, so I bought my first one used. I loved it. I went and bought 2 more. They were terrible. I didn't know anything about them, didn't know how to work on them. My dealer really dropped off. He started growing. He grew too big. He couldn't service me. So I had to take my stuff to Little Rock. I got it worked on. This past year, I hired a mechanic in full time, and he's learned those machines inside and out. We've replaced the engine on them now. We've worked on the hydraulics. We know them front to back, and I love them. There's little things that I can show you to just stay on top of. Kevin's seen it. They've gone down on us on jobs, cleaning up. There's little things that happen that can turn into big frustrations if you're not educated. But if you educate yourself on your machines, know how to service them, just know some of the basics. I think that Tyler Dixon will contest, like they are phenomenal machines. I highly recommend them. And the reason I recommend either a Walker or an X-Mark, I know Toro has one, Skag used to. The reason I recommend those is because they're center discharge. So that means that you have a cutting edge on both sides, whereas you have a discharge side on your other mowers. And so with that, you have center discharge. So when I first started mowing yards and I started getting into a lot of thatch and stuff like that, it was matting the grass down. And I was constantly mowing the same direction, same direction, same direction. I would rake them. I would try to push mow them. I would try to mow the other way. I just couldn't get the cut. I bought a bagger that helped. It started sucking it up, but it still wasn't solving it. You still kept seeing the same stripes, just matting the grass down more than less. And so then I got the X Mark, and I could now mow from either direction. I could come in from the driveway and go left or go right, and that would get that cut. So I could change my direction every other time, and the grass would not be matted down. So that's one reason why I love them. And they suck up leaves great, just not sticks.
I want a tandem axle enclosed and a tandem axle open. The open I can get for a really good deal. Have you ever or do you have both?
I used to have it enclosed. I don't anymore. I got my first enclosed because, like I was telling you guys, I was based out of a 20 by 30 carport. And so every time it would rain, we would unload the equipment, cram all of our mowers in there. Our trucks would be parked out. Whatever we couldn't cover up, we had tarps under the shed. We would take out, bungee cord down, cover them up. And so I thought, I don't want to keep having to do this every time it rains. And so I bought my first enclosed trailer. It wasn't ideal for us. And so I thought, well, I'll use it for landscaping. I'll just put tools, etc. in it, and keep it on the job sites. That really didn't work out either. We ended up selling it. And then when I built my shop, I don't need that because I have a 60 by 30 carport, and so I can just back my equipment under there, and then I've got a 60 by 70 interior where I put my equipment. And so, some of you guys like me early on, that you don't have a place to store it. That's a moving storage building. I recommend it. The only downfall is you don't have a place for grass clippings, and you don't have a place for brush. And I make a ton of money on haul off. So by charging that $15 to $25 for haul off, I capitalize all the time in making more money. And so if I have to make a haul off back to the house, I charge $75 that I get to get paid on that job. And then it opens the door, towards brush jobs. You see me doing a lot on Instagram. There's a ton of money in brush jobs. I can't do that with an enclosed trailer. We've been doing some stuff, me and Kevin together, and you see his box truck and I have an open trailer. And that's because we're putting all the stuff onto the trailer, where usually I have to put my mower on his truck just to finish the day. And so, that open trailer, the possibilities are amazing with it. And then I see if you were going to have a very specific lawn mowing and not be bagging grass, how your enclosed trailer could be, just super profitable. Keep everything locked up, keep it stored away, out of the weather. You're going to extend the life expectancy of all your stuff from not having it out there getting, drier out in the sun, and so getting rained on. And then it also protects it at night. You lock it up, nobody can get it and steal it.
How do you find HOAs?
Okay. Is there anybody in Hot Springs on our live stream tonight? No? Okay. All right. So there's none of my competition came in on this. All right. So when you're targeting HOAs, so there's some good things. In the village, we have golf courses. A lot of these guys go to the golf course, and that's where they have breakfast and stuff. So, you can hit the little display board, put your stuff out there. I've even gone in there and ate and been doing stuff, and I would just turn around and talk to the gentleman, try to get my name out there. Those guys talk a lot, and once you get involved with one guy, it spreads. But you're putting in legwork. You have to think about that. You have to think about where are these guys at, what are they doing, etc. But then also what you have to do is, if you go into these subdivisions, usually there's a developer. And that developer, this is what me and Kevin have been doing, is we go to that developer, we see a sign, and then we look up his business and make a phone call. And we're trying to get contact to see if they're interested, etc. But then what we are doing is, instead of trying to get a cold call and then to try to set ourselves up for an estimate, we are going in there, we are bidding it already, and then going in with a bid from the get go, and then just doing that year after year, is going to help you. My first one, my first big one, my first one I picked up the first time I did door hangers. You got that easy. The next one was referred to me from the president of that POA. He referred me to the other gentleman. That gentleman ended up knowing my dad, etc. And so I just had those other points of contact that allowed me to get those beings and him selling it and then going with us. But my third one, which was 116 home POA, I went to that subdivision. I figured out the developer. The developer actually had his own lawn maintenance team. And so he said, well, you come to work for, I said, I came to him, I said, hey, I want to mow these. How do I do it? He said, well, you come to work for me. I said, no, never mind. That's not what I want to do. And so he had, all of his own crews doing it. And I had just been out there, year after year, trying to get in there, trying to say, hey, I can save you money. These guys are taking breaks. They're doing this. I want to do it. And I just kept going there year after year. Well, he ended up going bankrupt. I had already been out there so much, people had seen me. I had other contractors that knew me, that lived in that subdivision, that put my name out there. I got the estimate. I got it. I've had it for six years. I've had it for 6 years now. But it was just from putting myself out there. Now to get them, we're cold calling. We're figuring out who's developing subdivisions, figuring that out, putting together a bid, going to them with that bid and turning it in and trying to get our name out there. And so that's how we're going about on those. And there's, just, you're not going to get a lot of return phone calls. So, figure out if they have an office, go by. I remember I dropped off one in an office and ended up a month later, he called me back. His guy flaked off and then he called me. Never heard from them. So made a call, never heard, went to the office, dropped it off. Yeah, I'll give it to him. And then finally, when his guy, fell off, he called me. So you never know when that's gonna work out.
The last question you have is, your mechanic gets 40 hours?
Yes. My mechanic's on salary. So it's teamwork, it's community. And so he helps us cut trees. He's out clearing brush. He is, dropping what he's doing and going and helping a team if they go down in the field, keeping everything going. I found this as a must, especially at 15 guys or 15 trucks, and so we had everything going there. But yeah, my guy gets, he gets more than that. So when he goes over that, he gets a bonus, but he's on salary, and it works out really well for us.
What's your last comment?
So awesome. Anything else, guys? We're wrapping things up. It's just after 8 o'clock. I'll leave it open, let's say, for like 6 more minutes and see if you guys got any questions or anything that you want to go over in detail on this, maybe that we skipped over or I jumped too quick past. Like I said, a lot of it, guys, you think that sales is just this, crazy, hard thing. It's not. It's a lot of very simple things. You're just trying to put your company out in front of people in the most unconscious way so that when they think about you and they finally do make that decision to hire somebody, that you're on the forefront of their mind because they've seen your sign or they've seen you at a gas station or they've seen your truck or they saw your flyer, so on and so forth. And you're just trying, or they saw you on social media. That's what you're trying to do. And when you put yourself out there well enough, like I said, I haven't ever paid for any advertisement. I had all my trucks branded the same. From early on, I think it was like year 2, I decided charcoal gray and I went all out with it. And so that's what you're just trying to do. You're trying to get that where they think about you and it's like, oh yeah, well I've seen you all over. And that's what you're trying to get every customer to think about you.
Michael Workman said, thank you guys for this webinar. So,
Appreciate you, brother. So
you
I
guys-
hope it helped you a lot. I hope that this, guys, just helps you refine everything for your business this year, that you'll just relook at everything, redefine who you are, brand who you are as a company, know your identity. So when you go and you sell your stuff yourself to somebody and your services, that you are educated, you know what you're doing, you know what you do best, and you can stand bold in that.
What's your script when doing door-to-door sales?
Door-to-door sales. I love it because there's like I said, I try to do it when there's a truck in the neighborhood. So when I knock on the door You know, this is how it goes. You know, knock, knock, knock. You know, they don't answer. I put on the door. I walk away. No, I'm just kidding. So, you know, so you go up there. You know, you knock on the door. They come to the door. I just same thing. You know, hi, I'm Blake Hawthorne with It's His Turf. How are you doing today? And I'm just trying to make that connection. You know, I'll stick my hand out there, try to shake their hand, be friendly. I'm smiling, looking clean. I just tell them, I have a lawn and landscape company. We do a lot of lawns here in your neighborhood. My guys are just down the road, you know, doing some work. I want to stop by and give you this free estimate. I've already got the estimate filled out. I'm not asking her, I'm giving it to her. So I'm making her refuse the free estimate. And so, you know, I'd like to give you this free estimate for your lawn. If there's anything I can ever do for you, I'd love to help you out. I'm not trying to sell her on a hard sell. And then if the conversation goes into something, great. And if not, I just tell you thank you, have a wonderful day, and I'm gone. And then she may not make the sale right then, but when she sees my guys down the road, when she leaves to go to the grocery store, she sees the yard looking good. I have a yard sign in the yard. You know, next week she calls. And so that's the way it works. It's literally that simple.
Let's see here, man. There's a lot of them coming in. So what would you suggest in a motto? Just to kind of recap.
Okay, so bring it back home in the motto. It really needs to be what you and your company stand for. Why are you doing this? You know, why did you decide to get into lawn care? Why did you decide to get into landscaping? What is your purpose in doing these services? I feel like if you really, you know, peel yourself open and you define yourself in that, you know, you'll be able to come up with, you know, your mission statement and your motto. For me, I lucked out, guys. I was praying about it. I was sitting in the deer stand, and that came out. But you know, you hear a lot of people that say, you know, I know one in towns like, you know, quality services aren't expensive; they're priceless. You know, something like that, or you know, affordable and reliable. And those things are great; they really are. But if you have something that's a little different than everybody else, and you really are genuine and you examine yourself, I feel like if you can be as honest as you can be. And just, you know, put yourself out there in that vulnerable position, that you're going to have a lot better success. So I would say look at why you started, and put some things on paper and just really come up with something, you know, there. I mean, you can Google it and come up with what looks good. I mean, I was praying about it. I used to have, my first mission statement was just like, you know, affordable service, or quality service, affordable price, something along those lines. Just trying to say that, hey, we do great work at a reasonable rate. You know, and that was how I got into landscaping. I thought all these guys were ripping people's, you know, heads off, and so I was trying to come up with, you know, something there. And then my first missions, or my first you know, shirts was the Steps to Salvation on the back, because I knew that God had called me to do this, and I wanted to stand bold. But then God had a more simplistic way, because I was praying about it, and literally opened my devotional that morning after praying about it, and that was the scripture that was on there, and it just hit home. So. Got just a few more minutes, guys. I'll keep going if they start rolling in. I don't mind. I want people to get anything answered they have.
All right, here's one from PK Landscaping. It says, when you were getting sued, how did you get through it emotionally? How do you keep your head up? He said he's going through a lawsuit right now, and it's taking a toll on him.
I mean, I'm actually going through it right now. This has been going on since 2017. So we're going on like 18 months that this is going on. I offer a year warranty with all my stuff, and so this lawsuit, the issues didn't actually come up until like a month before the warranty was up, and then they just started digging and prying. They caused me a lot of heartache. They actually caused me some audits. They caused me some fines. They just really started digging, and it's been hard. You know, these guys have got to see it. You know, because I go to court in a month over this, and I have a peace about it, because I've looked over everything. I've looked over all the accusations, and I won with the contractors board, and they dropped the case because they were actually suing me over the lawn being two different color greens. The sod company sold me two different types of Bermuda sod, and at a certain time of the year it looks lime green and dark green. But then they started bringing up all these other accusations, things like the trenches weren't deep enough, there's a drainage problem, stuff that was all addressed that I didn't have in writing, and I didn't have an initial off on in my contracts. And I've modified my contracts now for you guys so you don't go through that. But you know, man, I've just had to been praying and being transparent. And I just know the things that I've gone through in the last 12 to 18 months and buying a company out, having them steal my money, leave me, become my competition, take my guys, all these audits, everything. I know that God has called me to do this, and I know that it is in helping you guys. And so I just have to say, okay, God, you have a plan. I don't know what it is. It doesn't make sense. And it seems like every time I have my feet, you know, underneath me, they get swept out. There were so many reasons just today not to do the live stream, you know, and it's just, I know that, like, you know, internet this morning, you know, not having internet, going into, you know, our PayPal services shut down. So those are all going to be coming through y'all's connections tomorrow, because they shut us down earlier for whatever reason. We had to put a new account in. We didn't have the right lighting that I wanted. Just all these things were happening, and I know it's the enemy trying to get me down. And so I would tell you, just like, stand bold, you know, lean on others, you know, reach out to me. There's a great community here. If I didn't have other guys in the community spurring me along, you know, some of the guys are in the chat tonight. You know, Richie and Tyler and, you know, Kevin, and these guys just, you know, they help spur me along. This channel helps spur me along. When I get in front of that camera and I know I'm pouring into somebody, it changes my demeanor, because I know I have that opportunity to impact somebody's life. And so I would just encourage you to, like, reach out, be transparent, don't bottle it up, because it's not going to do you any good. Nobody's going to think any less of you. I feel like by me being vulnerable and showing you guys my successes and my failures and the things that are trialing me, maybe will help you guys in a situation. And that's what this whole thing is all about, is in helping you not have to go through something I went through. I hate that you're already going through, you know, the lawsuit, but just, like, keep your head up, you know, reach out to me. I'd love to help spur you along through this, you know, and then figure out how to keep yourself from ever getting back in that. And just find guys in the community to, you know, just to help spur you along, or, you know, start it in your stories or something, just to, you know, be pouring out into others that gives you a purpose, you know, to keep going, because people care. I mean, we care and everybody cares, and we want to help you get through this. So.
I think that's the last of your questions. A lot of positive comments on that. Good group.
All right, guys. Awesome. Week 15. So awesome. All right, guys. Well, I really do appreciate all of you coming in, helping me in this next direction of, you know, being able to mentor, pour into others. We've had probably 70 to 80 hours in the past 2 months on the phone with guys, helping them with their businesses. You know, we've sent out over 300 messages and emails with contracts and files and stuff like that. You know, we've been able to do that giveaway yesterday, and I really do appreciate it, y'all, you know, investing in me and helping me to continue this, and helping others, because it does take away from me being in my, you know, involved with my company, and I couldn't do it without you guys and making that, you know, financial investment tonight. So I really do appreciate it. If there's anything that we didn't cover that you want to cover, you know, reach out. And then on these other courses that we'll be getting more in depth in, really digging into lawn care, landscaping, etc. You know, let me know if you're interested in those. We'll be putting them together, you know, probably another one starting next week, or the week after our stonemakers training. But I do appreciate it. It means a ton to me. This will be up for, we'll probably do for like 30 days, where you can come back out to the link, check it out, and you know, watch anything you may have missed. But I do appreciate it. You guys have a great evening, and we'll see you later.